Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Deku had Saiki Kusuo's powers part 1. If you guys enjoy this what if and want to see part 2, comment down below and let me know before I start. Please do support for more awesome content and leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and also share this video with your friends and check out the description in my playlist. The author of the story RidTwo from Wattpad. So let's start the video. POV, Nizu. One time, 14 years ago. Place, the 𝗕𝗁 Public Safety Commission main building. I was summoned by MDM president of the 𝗕𝗁 Public Safety Commission. I didn't expect to be summoned here again ever since I was approved to be a teacher at 𝗕𝗁 High School. And to be called by the president herself. It must be something important. I wait outside of the meeting room to be called in. President, you may come in. I complied to her request to see the president waiting for me at the other side of the room, sitting behind her desk. I sit at the chair facing her. Thank you for responding to my sudden call, Mr. Nizu. Nizu, think nothing of it, President. But I do agree that the summon was unexpected. I hope it isn't about bringing me back on the field. I could never. I am aware of your mental state and you volunteering to be an educator for the younger generation. The reason for it's because the subject of this meeting was also brought up without notice. What is the issue, MDM president? The president stood up from her seat, presses the remote to darken the room and turns on the projector. As you know, identifying the existence of a quirk is simple through observing the amount of joints in their pinky toe. But one element of quirks that isn't brought up often are quirk factors, the collective physical and genetic traits that compose a person's quirk. This is mainly because all quirk factors function similarly, which focuses on a person's singular primary quirk power. It is unthinkable for a person to have multiple quirks, as even having one quirk puts strain on a quirk user's body. But on August 16th, we received a boy's medical record that seemed normal at first, but our DNA analysts found this. The president presses the button and shows a list of 30 quirks. 1. Apport 2. Astral projection 3. Bilocation 4. Clairvoyance 5. Cryokinesis 6. Curse 7. Electrokinesis 8. Levitation 9. Flight 10. Hydrokinesis 11. Hypnosis 12. Invisibility 13. Mediumship 14. Memory alteration 15. Mind control 16. Petrification 17. Precognition 18. Psychic hold 19. Telekinesis 20. Psychometry 21. Pyrokinesis 22. Restoration 23. Size augmentation 24. Super strength 25. Telepathy 26. Teleportation 27. Thoughtography 28. Time travel 29. Transformation 30. X-ray 2N. Aside from the absurd concept of time travel, these all seem like normal quirks, MDM president. All of these quirks are from one person. What? One person. Does that mean that this boy has 30 quirks? How can a single organism have that many quirk factors without outright exploding from the strain and overwhelming genetic information? I understand your shock, Mr. Nizu. Although most of these quirks are in fact dormant in the boy's body, just the indication of these quirks present in his body is astonishing. Are you sure this isn't an error from the DNA analyst's research? That was also our first thought. Although the quantity of the quirks is baffling, there's also the fact that our analysts have never found more than one quirk in their research before this. The second fact is that both of the boy's parents and his older sibling are quirkless. It's unprecedented that the one instance of the analyst's error would be this absurd. I was too baffled by this news that I forgot about the simple question about our meeting. Actually, if you'll excuse me, MDM president, why am I the one being told this major news? Or not, we must be prepared for the worst-case scenario. Our first step is to visit the boy's home to confirm his multiple quirks. I don't want to ask All Might for this because he's already busy enough being the #1 hero. And I am worried that the other pro-heroes that are used to battling villains will be intimidated by this revelation and show hostility. If we manage to upset a boy with this many quirks, the damage will be irreversible. So it's because I'm not a combative pro-hero. Yes, I'm also hoping that you'll be able to approach the boy more gently, being an experienced educator. I would be lying if I said I'm not nervous to meet the boy with a monstrous amount of quirks, but if the president herself believes that I'm most suitable for the task, I'll try my best, 𝗕 President. 1 month later I rang the doorbell and was greeted by a brown-haired man, which is the boy's father, 𝗘𝗁 Saiki. He was confused at first seeing a creature with a black waistcoat, so I felt obligated to introduce myself. Good morning, my name is Nizu, a pro hero and a teacher of 𝗕𝗁. 𝗘𝗁's confusion turns into nervousness from hearing my status. 𝗘𝗁, oh, pardon me. I'm Saiki Kusuo. He bows down to shake hands with me. Would you like to come in? I would like that. When we both entered the house, a very young boy ran to us. Dad. I got a full score on my practice test again. Oh, good job, Kusuki. The boy looks to me in awe. Kusuki, oh, a big mouse. Are you a mutant? Do you have a quirk? That's a big scar. Did something happen to you? Very talkative. A woman with dark purple eyes and short black hair chases after him, who is probably the boy's mother. Kurumi, Kusuki, don't be rude. Kusuki, okay, can I do algebra now? Kurumi, sure thing. And the boy ran away, immediately losing interest in me. That boy sounds bright. How old is he? Oh, he's 2 years old. 2 years old. And he's already doing algebra. Despite him being quirkless, he's instead a super genius. 3N, interesting. 2 normal quirkless parents, a quirkless super genius, and a baby with 30 quirks. What an unusual family. I follow 𝗘𝗁 to the living room and I sit with the 2 parents after given tea. Who is this, dear? This is Mr. Nizu, a pro hero and a teacher in 𝗕𝗁. Oh my, the famous hero school. Our second son with a quirk was just born a month ago though. I'm actually here about your second son. So what do you want to know about Kusuo? The doctor approved your son's quirk as telepathy, is that correct? That's right. Kusuo talked to us through telepathy after 2 weeks of being born. We were really surprised by it. Because when we examined your son's DNA, we found that he has a total of 30 quirks in his body. Oh my, that doesn't sound normal, right dear? I think so. From what I remember, most people only have one. Makes sense for them to be clueless about quirks, since this is the first family member that has one. That explains yesterday. What happened yesterday? When we were spending time with Kusuo seemed restless, and when we let him go, he was able to walk. That's amazing. Even if it's 9 months early, it's not a clear indication that he has all the quirks the president mentioned. And after a few steps he started walking on thin air like he was floating. Never mind. Mrs. Saiki notices my silence and asks in concern, is that a problem, Mr. Nizu? Well, it is in the context of how this is the first instance of anyone having this many quirks. So the Hero Public Safety Commission is very cautious about the safety of your son. Because normally even a person with 2 quirks would be too much of a strain. So for security, try your best to limit your son's usage of multiple quirks and have him stick to one. What other things can we do, Nizu-san? I would like to get a monthly report on Saiki Kusuo's growth. This is important to ensure your son's health and how his body is dealing with numerous quirk factors. I understand. And also when Kusuo is smart enough, actually want to share a few words with him. 6 years later, accurate time. 8 years ago I got a call from 𝗘𝗁 that Kusuo is ready to talk to me already. I would have been doubtful, but the reports have been consistent that Kusuo has been growing without any health issues and shown to already have multiple quirks. He's also the younger brother of the boy that can talk at 2 years old. I greet Kusuo's parents as usual and I enter the living room to see a quiet and obedient 6-year-old boy with deep pink hair and violet eyes sitting on the couch. An odd sight. Usually, a 6-year-old would not be sitting still or at least be distracted with something. I sit in front of him and he's just blankly staring at me. That's the calmest reaction I've seen of someone for my looks. Seems like he's just keeping his reaction to himself. Good morning, Kusuo. Saiki, good morning. Polite as well too. I hear him speak to me, but his mouth isn't open. Looks like he's using telepathy. Writer's note, since this a world where quirks are normal, Saiki feels comfortable to always talk to people through telepathy. So he'll always communicate through telepathy unless pointed out that he is speaking verbally. 2N. Do you know who I am? Dad said that you are a pro hero. N. Is that all? Yes. N. I think we both are aware that you know more about me. Kusuo turned silent, hesitating to continue to talk to me because of my attempt of interrogation. N. It's okay. I represent the Hero Public Safety Commission to oversee your health and growth, so I'm aware of the secret of your multiple quirks. I'm also the one that suggested to limit the usage of them in the first place. So, in a sense, I'm kind of like your benefactor. Kusuo slowly relaxes from my assurance and lets out something that he was holding back on telling me. I don't trust you. I'm caught off guard by his bold complaint towards me. N. And why is that? I saw what you've been through. You don't like humans. I don't feel safe around you. I know that he can read my mind, but I didn't expect him to focus on a sensitive part of my life. I touch my scar while being reminded of the painful memories and I calmly respond. N. I understand that you were finding information of me for your own safety, and even I admit that I can't fully recover from the trauma. But that is why I'm not a combative hero. So the old scars don't reopen. And that is why I volunteered to be an educator. So that the future generation of heroes don't hurt others like I went through. Does that make you trust me now? I guess so. I'm sorry. What a mature boy. N. There's also the fact that your 30 quirks don't seem that human to me anyway. Kusuo continues to blankly stare at me. Looks like he doesn't have that much of a sense of humor. N. Anyway, your father was right that you're smart enough to talk to me. At such an early age too. You are too mature for your own good. Mr. Nizu, and what is it? Is there another reason that you want to see me? I'm happy that he's comfortable enough to talk to me like this. N. Oh yes, I'm here to talk to you about how you'll bring yourself from now on. Kusuo responds in confusion. I did expect for a 6-year-old to not think much about the future. 3N. Your 30 quirks are an oddity that shouldn't be common knowledge. But at the same time, this also means that you have amazing potential to be one of the best hero our planet has ever seen, N. Even more than All Might, N. So I want to tell you how I think you should introduce and assimilate yourself to hero society when you're ready, But Kusuo cuts me off with a response. N. What's wrong? I don't like it. N. Like what? I don't like these powers. A lot of them I can't do anything about. When I'm too happy I break down a wall when I come in contact. I keep hearing voices from people's heads when I walk past them, good or bad. Sometimes, when I look at someone, I can see their bones and muscles, and when I wake up, I end up somewhere that I don't recognize. It might be somewhere else. It might even be a year in the past or the future. Kusuo starts tearing up from letting all his inner thoughts out. Like he's been suppressing them for a while now. I'm scared. I'm scared that if something goes wrong I'll be alone. I'm scared that if I do something wrong I'll hurt people I care about. I don't want to hurt anyone. Kusuo's tears made me reflect on my oversight as an educator. His maturity made me forget about the fact that he's just a 6-year-old boy. He can get scared. He can get overwhelmed. He can feel alone. What am I doing? Laying down my expectations and bombarding him with information. He needs a dependable figure to rely on. He needs someone to hold his hand through the scary world of pro-heroes, risking their lives every day for the safety of the people. I stood up from my chair and sit next to him on the couch. N. Kusuo. As soon as he turns to me, I give him a warm hug. N. I'm sorry for being insensitive, we'll take this one step at a time. You're warm and fuzzy. N. I am an animal after all. When I let him go and went back to my seat. N. Now then, let's just keep it short with one question. N. What quirk do you want on your hero record? Hero record. N. Seeing that you have multiple quirks, a good start is by making one of them your primary quirk that everyone will know you for. Preferably, I wouldn't want your primary work to be as crazy as time travel. That would cause a lot of trouble for us. Kusuo starts thinking and responds, I think I'm fine with just telepathy. How about this? Let's exclude the part that you can read other people's minds. This way. Let's say that power will bring too much attention than we would like. So what should my quirk be? What if we call it an imperfect form of telepathy that only allows you to communicate with others with your mind? Another thing that we should consider is your limitation or weakness. This way. Another reason your quirks are unique is because there's no indication of limitation or weakness. The only flaw that I observed can be easily fixed in time is that you cannot fully control your quirks. What should my weakness be? Let's see, how often have you talked to someone verbally? Never. So you've gotten that comfortable with your telepathy. Are you okay with being mute as a weakness? I guess so. Then it's settled. With that, you can give a plausible answer when people ask about your quirk. I walk to Kusuo and pat his head. You're still young, Kusuo. Remember to loosen up and enjoy yourself. It's fine to act like a child. Okay. 6 years later, accurate time. 2 years ago POV. Saiki Kusuo, I just entered 𝗷𝗫𝙀 Junior High. My parents were too excited about it and sent me off early. Mr. Nizu told me that I can enter any junior high school I want, so I just chose the closest one to my house. There's probably nothing worth mentioning here anyway, slam. My inner thinking was cut short by a loud sound of the class door opening, showing an angry-looking boy with short, spiky, sandy blonde hair with choppy bangs that hang over his eyebrows. He walks to his seat while hanging his bag over his shoulder. He noticed me staring at him and he returns with a condescending glare. Despite looking like a delinquent, he's still entering class as early as I am. A while later, another boy with fluffy dark green hair enters the classroom. He notices the delinquent and cautiously approaches him. For Midoriya, it looks like we're in the same class, Kaken. Bakugo, don't talk to me, Deku. I'll kill you. Midoriya notices me watching them and greets me. Good morning. I nodded in response. I'm supposed to be mute, and I don't feel like responding to him with my telepathy. Everyone else and the teacher arrives in class, but I notice another empty seat. Maybe someone isn't here yet. Teacher, good morning everyone. Let's start off by everyone introducing ourselves and their quirks. Before we could even start, the door suddenly opens and an appealing girl with dark blue hair and blue eyes comes in. Good morning, I'm sorry I'm late. I was too excited about meeting new friends that I overslept. I hope you forgive me. A golden aura suddenly glows around her and everyone in the class responded with one word, 7, 2. I would have been one of them if I didn't hear her inner thoughts. Perfect. My clumsy beauty plan worked to a T. Now everyone is enamored by me. Hold on, why are there 2 of them that aren't affected? I'm the perfect appealing girl. Sooner or later, I'll have them under my charm. 3. How conceited. I look around to see the second person, and the blonde delinquent is blushing but is looking away. I guess his pride is too strong. Then would you like to introduce yourself? 2. Even the teacher is stuttering before her. 𝗕𝗁𝙁𝗁𝐻. Oh, alright then. Good day everyone, my name is 𝗕𝗁𝙁𝗁𝐻𝗁𝐵. And my quirk is absolute beauty. 2. That's nice to hear. You're free to sit down so you can hear your classmates' quirks. After she sat down, everyone in the class starts introducing themselves and their quirks. 2 that stand out is the blonde delinquent. B. Name's Bakugo Katsuki. And my quirk's explosion. And I'm going to be a pro hero that will surpass All Might and all of you side characters. Expected that kind of introduction. Despite his powerful sounding quirk, it doesn't look like he has the personality of a pro hero like Mr. Nizu. And then the boy with the fluffy dark green hair introduced himself. My name is Midoriya Izuku, and I'm quirkless. I did pick up their names during their short conversation, but it's interesting that he's the only person in this class that doesn't have a quirk. Even if only 20% of the population is quirkless. When it's my turn, I stand up and introduce myself to everyone through telepathy. My name is Saiki Kusuo. I can talk to people telepathically. However, I was born mute in return. It's nice to meet everyone. Everyone reacted radically to hearing a voice in their head but saw my mouth moving perfectly still. Student 1. Whoa, that was sick. Student 2. I was kinda creeped out. Teacher. That's an interesting quirk, Saiki-san. When the class ended, Midoriya immediately ran to me with a notebook. Your quirk is so cool. Thank you. Say, can you talk to people in other places or through walls? How many people can you talk to at a time? Does it strain your body when you communicate to many people? How far of a distance can you talk with someone? Is the distance comparable with someone talking verbally? Can you 1s? What are you doing? Midoriya realized my confusion from being bombarded with questions and dialed down. Oh, I'm sorry. It's just that your quirk is very unique from all of the pro heroes I've seen. And that's what the notebook is for. Yes. This is where I write about all of the pro heroes and people with cool quirks. I don't think I would fit in that category. I'm not as flashy as All Might. No way. Sure, your powers aren't as extravagant as Endeavor or Best Jeanist, but I can see your quirks saving and helping a lot of people. That's the first time someone complimented one of my quirks. Pluses, thanks I guess. Want to hear about the other pro heroes I wrote about? Sure. Didn't expect to already make a friend on my first day. 3 days ago POV. Saiki Kusuo. 2 years have passed by and it's already the last year of junior high. Midoriya and I have been quite acquainted. Acquainted being Midoriya being comfortably open with talking to me about the pro heroes he sees daily and me just listening to him the entire time. Bakugo just sees me as a side character that Midoriya likes to talk to. And 𝗕𝗁𝙁𝗫, Kusuo, Kokomi, confessed her feelings for me last year and we've been dating ever since. 9T. Have you decided on which high school to go to? Not really. T. Well, if you're that indecisive, you can join me at PK Academy. So you're not going to a hero school. T. My older brother said that it's too dangerous for me. That is something your older brother would say. It is dangerous for you to solely rely on your quirk to be a hero. T. I would never expect you and my brother to actually agree on something. It's about your safety after all. Your brother might be a weirdo, but he's still a decent brother at least. T. Your brother isn't that normal either. And I agree. T. Does that mean that you're going to ask your parents? Probably. And a very nosy pro hero would want to know too. T. Then I'll leave you to it. Before Kokomi leaves the classroom, I ask her one more question. Kokomi T. What is it? Are you okay with me being in different schools with you? Kokomi hesitates before answering. T. Well, I won't be happy about it, T. But if we manage to stay together, wouldn't that be the biggest proof of our love? I almost blushed from her confession. She really changed from the prideful, conceited girl that I used to know. To present time teacher, I hope you all take your future seriously, but I know that most you want to be heroes anyway, right? And the whole class cheered from the excitement of being a pro hero. Don't compare me to these side characters. Student 1. Why would you say that, Katsuki? T. Well, according to your handout, you want to go 𝗕𝗁𝙁, right, Bakugo? Student 2. 𝗕𝗁 High School, the best hero school in Japan. B. That's right. I aced the mock test. And I'm the only one capable enough to get into 𝗕𝗁. And once I do, I'm going to be the #1 pro hero, even better than All Might. T. Midoriya and Saiki want to go to 𝗕𝗁 too. The whole class became silent and start laughing at Midoriya upon hearing the news. They were that surprised that Midoriya wanted to go to 𝗕𝗁 that they forgot about me. As much as I feel bad, it is unusual for a quirkless person to study in a hero school, let alone 𝗕𝗁. Student 3. You obviously need a quirk to go to hero school, Midoriya. They just got rid of that rule. It's just that no one wanted to do it. Bakugo suddenly lashes out and breaks Midoriya's desk with his quirk, pushes Midoriya to the back of the class. B. Deku, how is your pathetic quirkless going to go against me in 𝗕𝗁? I don't want to compete with you, Kaken. It's been my dream ever since I was a kid. I might as well try. What's the point of trying? How are you going to be part of the top 0.2% without a quirk? You can't do anything. Bakugo. That's enough. Bakugo turns to me because I called him out. But Alright, you also want to go to UA. You think your quirk is enough to get there. S. Guess there's only one way to find out. B. I can destroy you right here. 1S. You can't. B. How are you going to stop me? S. I'm not. I'm just pointing out the fact that destroying public property isn't really heroic. 1 Bakugo follows my stare to Midoriya's broken desk. T. Bakugo, I prefer not bringing you to the principal's office over this again. B. 𝗕𝗁𝐻𝗫𝗄 whatever. 6 hours later in front of the school I was walking out of the school, and I see Midoriya holding a wet but burnt notebook. Looks like Bakugo did something to him again. I would do something about this, but Bakugo's already a pain to deal with just to be in the same room with him. And I already have enough on my plate. 𝗕𝗁𝐁𝗵𝗆 Kusuo. What's wrong? Kokomi walked up to me during my deliberation. It's nothing. While we were walking, Kokomi wanted to start a conversation. T. So that's why you asked me about us going to different schools. Sort of. T. But still, I didn't expect an introvert like you to go out of his way to want to be a pro hero. What changed your mind? Flashback to 3 days ago I entered my house after school and was welcomed by my mom. Mom, welcome back, Kuchun. Oh, Mr. Nizu wants to see you. So he's here. I walked to the living room to see Mr. Nizu sitting at the same spot 8 years ago. I sit in front of him and he greets me with a smile. Nizu, good to see you again, Kuku. Likewise, Mr. Nizu. Congratulations on being the principal of UH High School. N. Thank you. I see that you wear green glasses and headpieces now. They're for restraining my powers. N. If you contacted the Hero Public Safety Commission, we could have helped you with that. My brother was already there to fix it. N. Sure is handy having a super genius as an older brother. I'm sure he wanted me to be quirkless when he first made these. So what brings you here, Mr. Nizu? N. I think we both know why I'm here, which concerns a handout in your bag. I'm not surprised that you know. N. I'm a high school principal, I should be aware of the schedule of middle school. So what about it? N. Kusuo, I want you to apply for UH High School. And why is that? N. I'm confident that I can be straightforward with you now. Now that you are of proper age, we need you to be under constant surveillance. We also want to train you to be the best hero possible with your 30 quirks. You easily have the potential to overtake All Might as the pro hero that will be the biggest obstacle of villainy in the world. And what better place for it than the top hero school in Japan, especially one under my supervision. I do have some conditions. And, go on. I am not confident that I will fully replace All Might. I may be powerful, but I am not a symbol. The best I can see myself do is help when I can, but I can't be primary figure of hope. And, I understand. Having unparalleled power isn't the same as trying to be the world's symbol of peace. And I agree that you should do the best within your capabilities. I also recently realized that I have people I care about. I'm worried if something will happen to them. N. Aside from your parents, you mean your recent girlfriend, 𝗕𝗁𝐁𝗵𝗆? Of course you know that too. N. Now Kusuo, don't look disgusted. You never know if the girl you're in love with is actually a villain. But don't worry, she alongside your parents' safety is guaranteed. We are well aware that if something happens to them, even we can't stop you from doing anything reckless. I see. Thank you for consideration. Mr. Nizu doesn't respond and just stares at me. What is it, Mr. Nizu? N. You've really grown from the scared little boy 8 years ago. Don't remind me. N. But my words still stay the same, Kusuo. And that is. N. It's okay to act your age. Have some youthful fun as a teenager. Back to present. My parents believe that I can use my quirk to help others. So it kinda motivated me. I'm not exactly lying. My parents are happy that I'm aiming to go to a fancy hero school, as they call it. Midoriya telling me that my quirk can save and help people did stick with me. Then maybe I should be a pro hero as well. 1S. Your brother would be devastated. During our conversation, I hear foreign noises approaching us. I quickly turn around to see a big pile of sewer green sludge jumping towards us. 𝗘𝗁𝗵𝐿 can't turn around and use her quirk because she can't react on time. I have no choice but to use my telekinesis that I have been hiding the entire time in front of 𝗘𝗁𝗵𝐿 to protect her. I pushed my hands towards the villain and held him in place with my telekinesis. 𝗕𝗫 Kusuo. Is that a villain? I thought your quirk was just telepathy. Now's not the time. Go to somewhere safe, 𝗘𝗁𝗵𝐿. Villain. Damn it, I had to run into a brat that can stop me. But Kusuo, just go. 𝗘𝗁𝗵𝐿 took my warning and ran away. I even got carried away and yelled at her verbally. Mr. Nizu won't be happy that another person knows my secret. The villain gives up on attacking me and jumps into a manhole. I suddenly see a massive, tall and muscular man with blonde hair, wearing a white t-shirt and army green running towards me. It's All Might. All Might, 𝗕𝗪𝙢𝙢𝙢. Are you okay? +S. Yeah, I'm okay. Well, you just talked through my head. But it's okay. Don't be scared. Because I am here. I wasn't really scared, but leave it to All Might to assure someone with his presence. Where did he go, 𝗕𝗪𝙢𝙢𝙢? He went into that manhole. Thank you, 𝗕𝗪𝙢𝙢𝙢. And he immediately jumps into the manhole to chase after the villain. Really says a lot that he's willing to run into the sewers to go after him. So that's what a real hero looks like. POV, Saiki Kusuo. That was tiring. The last thing I wanted to do today was use one of my secret quirks against a random villain. I want something to recover. Now that I think about it, there's a sale for coffee jelly at the Tetouan shopping district. I'll just buy some and go home for the day. I hope 𝗘𝗁𝗵𝐿 is safe. 15 minutes later, I exit the store and a burning piece of wood falls in front of me. I look around, and the market is covered in flames and everyone is running away. Good grief. I can't catch a break. I find the source of the fire and it was the same sludge villain that attacked me earlier today. I'm surprised that he managed to get away from All Might. I'm also surprised that a pile of sludge was able to do this much damage to the district. The villain notices me looking at him with one of his big yellow eyes. When he turns to me, I noticed that someone was trapped by the villain. When I took a closer look, it was Bakugo. Villain, you're the brat from before. Bakugo looks around and sees me in front of him. I notice him panic from my presence. The same person that he butts heads with and calls a side character is watching him hopelessly captured by a villain. Don't mess with me. I'm not getting consumed by some demon sewage. Bakugo recklessly uses his quirk, damaging the buildings around him, making the place even worse. Meanwhile, the villain is focused on me and is weirdly vengeful. I'll get you this time. The villain tries relentlessly to grab me, but I dodge him every time. I'm not risking using my telekinesis again since Bakugo is here. I somehow manage to buy enough time for some pro heroes to arrive at the scene. I recognize most of them because of Midoriya. Death Arms. A child is taken hostage. There's also another child being attacked by the villain. Civilian. The child couldn't run away because he was distracting the villain the entire time. Slugger. That's impressive. Kamui Woods. Now's not the time, we need to save them. Death Arms. Leave it to me. Death Arms jumps and tries to punch the villain, but the punch was negated by the villain's liquid body. The villain tries to trap Death Arms as well, but I grab the villain's tentacles and hold it down. What are you doing? You're such a pest. The villain lifts me up and throws me to the wall of one of the buildings. The villain also hits Death Arms to a steel shutter door while he was distracted. This is such a pain. I might as well use my cryokinesis and just freeze this villain solid. Stop. I hesitate from Death Arms' scream. I look to the crowd and see another student running towards us. It was Midoriya. Despite him running towards the villain, he looked scared at the same time. Midoriya throws his bag and his belongings towards the villain to blind him. When he made it to Bakugo, he starts hopelessly clawing at the villain's body. What are you doing here? Midoriya, I don't know, but I can't just leave you here. Get lost. Save him. Suddenly, a strong gust of wind blows to the villain. All Might arrives in the nick of time to save Midoriya. All Might, Detroit Smash. All Might punches the villain away with a strong gust of wind to the point that it created a tornado. While everyone was protecting themselves from the wind, I took the opportunity to teleport back home. Dad welcomes me back home but then notices my singed clothes. Dad, oh welcome back, 'cause what happened? Meanwhile, I'm worried about being lectured by Mr. Nizu. I'm also pretty upset that I had to leave my coffee jelly behind. One POV. Slugger, we collect the scattered sludge and sent them to the police. After dealing with the media and every other news reporter went to All Might, 𝗕𝗏𝗄𝗏 and 𝗕𝗏𝗄𝗏𝗏 were telling one of the boys off for running to the villain. Especially when we learned that he was quirkless. Another pro hero and I were checking on the boy that was trapped by the villain. The other pro hero was amazed by his quirk. Pro hero, your quirk was awesome. I'd love to have you at my agency when you go pro. Slugger, speaking of 𝗕𝗏𝗄𝗏. 𝗕𝗏𝗄𝗏 stopped scolding the quirkless kid. What is it? Where did the other kid go? Other kid. B. Saiki was there too, was distracting the villain the whole time so everyone could escape. Saiki. Pro-H, really? His quirk must be impressive too. But his quirk is that he can communicate with others with his mind. Wooden Kamui, so he doesn't have any physical enhancement quirk. D. That doesn't add up. He was able to dodge that villain's attacks and even hold him off. WK, and it's the same villain that managed to hit 𝗕𝗏𝗄𝗏 away. D. That also makes me worried. The last time I saw him, the villain threw him to a wall. He just disappeared after All Might defeated him. Is he going to be okay? He'll be alright. Everyone turned to see Nizu approaching us. WK, what brings you here, Nizu-san? Nizu, I was checking out the situation and I found Cuff Boy injured, so I immediately brought him to the hospital. Is he going to be okay? Nizu responds with a warm smile. He will be fine. 10 months later, 10 months have passed, and I'm already in the lecture hall of 𝗕𝗏𝗧𝗏 High School. Once again, my parents were too excited and sent me off early. And once again, a familiar sour face greets me. Bakugo gives me an indifferent glance and sits one spot away from me. Ever since the sludge villain incident, Bakugo would never admit it, but his opinion of me got slightly better since I fared well against that villain. A few minutes later, Midoriya enters the hall and greets me. He probably already met Bakugo outside. Oh Saiki. Good morning. Good morning. I looked to Midoriya and I did notice that he's been building muscle. I was skeptical because Midoriya is more resolute than ever to get into 𝗕𝗏𝗧𝗏, even thought he was still quirkless, but then I read his mind and found out that Deku got All Might's quirk because his quirk is actually transferable. But since it's supposed to be a very major secret that involves the #1 hero, I just left it at that. Midoriya sits between us and we wait for the exam orientation to start. The orientation was hosted by one of the pro heroes and teachers of 𝗕𝗏𝗧𝗏, Present Mike. And per usual, Midoriya is ecstatic from getting to see Present Mike in person. Present Mike explains that we're taking 10-minute urban mock battles. And all of us are divided to 7 different battle centers. We all check our exam tickets and Bakugo noticed something. B. Looks like they're splitting us up because we're in the same school. Why, you're right, our examinee numbers are next to each other, but we're assigned to different battle centers. B. Don't look, I'll kill you. I also took a look at Midoriya's exam ticket and we're in the same battle center. I don't know why I'm an exception. Oh, we're in the same center. Let's try our best, Saiki. B. The school knows that you two need to work together to even get a chance off passing the exam. If I were in the same battle center with you and not Saiki, I would have loved to crush you. Present Mike proceeds to explain the faux villains that we can collect points from by defeating them. And for some reason highlighted on a 0-point villain that should be avoided. Present Mike, the hero Napoleon Bonaparte once said, a true hero is someone who overcomes life's misfortunes. Go beyond. Plus ultra. Now everyone, good luck suffering. Everyone leaves the hall to get changed and go to their respective battle centers by bus. That means Midoriya and I will be at Battle Center B. Some of us were quite surprised and amazed about 𝗕𝗏𝗧𝗏's facilities, being able to prepare multiple centers that looks just like a city. During this, Midoriya clearly looked nervous. Midoriya looked to me while I was blankly staring at the gate, waiting for the exam to start. Saiki, 𝗕𝗏𝗧𝗏, how can you be so calm? We're already here. All we can do is try our best. Midoriya sighs in hopelessness from my casual answer. I admire your laxness. I notice Midoriya looking at a girl and wanted to approach her, so I assumed that they know each other, but someone put a hand on his shoulder from behind to stop him. Ida Tenya, the girl is trying to focus. Don't take the exam if all you're doing is bothering others. I would never. I started seeing everyone else eyeing Midoriya in joy, thinking that he would be one less person to worry about in the exam. The same guy turned to me as well. And you, aren't you his friend? You should have stopped him from doing this troublesome behavior. I didn't bother replying to this stickler because it wasn't worth my time. I couldn't anyway because, present mic. Okay, start. What are you looking at me for? Get your butts to battle. Midoriya and I turn around and everyone was already running towards the battle center. Midoriya ran behind them and I follow suit. While we were running, we both got ambushed by one of the robot villains, and this one was worth 1 point. The villain rapidly approaches us, but Midoriya is frozen in fear, like his mental strength isn't as strong as his new quirk. Looks like I have to do something. 2 days ago and, good morning, Kusuo. Good morning. You've been visiting often lately, Mr. Nizu. It's important after all. Unless you think me visiting you after the sludge villain incident wasn't important. Unless me having to deal with your partner knowing about your quirks isn't important. He has a good point. So what is it this time? It's about the entrance exam. I'm starting to think your telepathy isn't enough to pass the exam. So what's the plan? What if we add on to your hero record, present time, I catch up to Midoriya and stand in front of him? Saiki. That you also have enhanced physical capabilities. I hold on to the villain's arm that wanted to attack Midoriya and threw its entire body to the ground, destroying it. Midoriya looks to me in shock, looking for an answer for my physical strength when he only knows me for my telepathy. You're not the only that trained for the exam, and I immediately ran deeper into the battle center. As much as I feel bad leaving Midoriya behind, I still have to work on getting points myself. The most I can do is check up on him when I think I get enough points. In the span of 8 minutes, I run around the battle center destroying a good amount of villains. Some of the villains I destroy were about to injure another examinee. With 2 minutes left, I see Midoriya in the distance looking around in panic and restlessness. Doesn't look like he's doing well. Suddenly, the ground starts shaking and debris and dust clouds start falling and forming around me. Everyone looks behind me, and when I turn around, the 0-point obstacle foe villain towers over me, being taller than the buildings of the battle center. And of course it's right in front of me. The obstacle instantly tries to punch me to the ground, but I dodged it. That one punch created a dust storm and a strong gust of wind. I followed what everyone else was doing and ran away from it. Midway I turned around and see Midoriya on the ground, looking at the same girl from earlier being trapped under some rubble. Looks like he wants to save her. Midoriya stands up and runs to the giant robot like how he ran to the sludge villain all those months ago. But this time, Midoriya jumps to the air like a rocket and crushes the head of the villain in one punch, causing a chain explosion to its entire body, causing its defeat. I see Midoriya falling from the sky and I notice his legs flailing unnaturally in the air, making me realize that he can't land on his own. I ran to the girl that was still trapped and lifted the rubble off of her while learning about her name. 𝗎𝗓𝗏, thank you. Are you okay? Whoa, you spoke to me through my mind. But I'm okay. You think you can help the person falling right now? He did save you after all. 𝗎𝗓𝗏 looks to Midoriya falling. Leave it to me. 𝗎𝗓𝗏 runs to one of the heads of the villains and makes it float with her quirk, making her way to Midoriya to save him by slapping him in the face to activate her quirk on him to make him float, saving him from the fall. I feel like I've done enough. 1 week later I walk downstairs to see Mr. Nizu again at the same spot in the living room. I would have liked some form of notification that you were here. But you would still know that I'm here even if I didn't. So what's the visit for this time? Plus Nizu hands me an envelope with a red wax seal of the logo of 𝗕𝗓𝗏 High School. My acceptance letter. You know it. Congratulations, you're now a student of 𝗕𝗓𝗏 High School. I smile from Nizu's sincere congratulations. Thank you. N, you know, I would have just admitted you to UH through my recommendation. My reasons are still the same. It attracts too much attention, and there's also the fact that my grades and physical tests were average at the time. N, but anything can happen in 10 months, and many wouldn't doubt a recommendation under the name of the principal of UH High School. It's too late for that anyway. But I didn't regret taking the entrance exam, it was actually pretty fun. Nizu was pleasantly surprised from my verbal confession and smiled. 1N, that's nice to hear. Practical examination result placement. Number 6. Name, Saiki Kusuo villain points, 32 rescue points. April 31st I make it to Class 1A's gigantic door and open to see the same stickler that confronted Midoriya. Ida, from the battle center. Nice to see you again, I am from Semi-Private Academy. My name is Ida. And he lends his hand in a quick manner. I paused a bit before returning his greeting. Saiki Kusuo. 2, your mouth isn't moving. Are you speaking directly to my mind? Yeah, that's my quirk. 2, that's an interesting quirk. Before Tenya could continue, the giant door slams open behind me, which sounded familiar. I turn around and see the same angry face I saw back in 𝗷𝙀 Junior High, which is Bakugo. We both look at each other in the eye and I'm returned with an annoyed glare. A glare that screams, of course I see him again. At least the feeling's mutual. Bakugo walks past us and sits as his assigned seat with his feet on the desk how he usually sits. While Tenya approaches him due to his lack of discipline, I sit at my assigned seat, seat number 11. Our homeroom teacher, 𝗕𝗫𝐬𝐽 arrives while Tenya, Midoriya and Uraraka were talking when the latter two enter the class. Aizawa, I'm your homeroom teacher, 𝗕𝗫𝐬𝐽. Nice to meet you. It's kind of sudden, but put on your sports uniforms and go to the field. When we made it to the field, Aizawa-sensei puts us through 8 physical tests with our quirks and threatens that whoever is in last place will be expelled. While everyone else was surprised and scared, I wasn't worried because with my current abilities, it's nearly impossible for me to end up in that scenario. The only moment worth mentioning is Midoriya getting a good distance in his ball throw by only using his self-destructive quirk on his finger. Throughout the whole test, Midoriya has struggled with every other test since he couldn't control his quirk, so that was nice to see. What the hell, where did you get that quirk, Deku? I turned to see Bakugo's hands spark from his quirk. He immediately charges to Midoriya with clear hostile intent but was stopped by Aizawa-sensei with his quirk that can disable other quirks and his binding cloth made with carbon fiber, steel wires, and special alloy. I wonder what would happen if he used his quirk on me. 2 after the tests, the results show that my ranking is 11th place. Perfectly middle as I wanted. Don't worry, the expulsion was a lie. It was a rational deception to encourage you to use your quirks to its fullest potential. Midoriya, who looked heartbroken from his bottom placement, was in colorless shock. At least he isn't expelled, would have been troublesome since he has All Might's quirk. After school I'm so tired. She had to heal your hand somehow. A hand pats on Midoriya's shoulder from behind. We turn around and it's Ida. 2, is your finger okay? Yeah, thanks to recovery girl. Ida continues while we were walking too. I'm amazed by Aizawa-sensei. He truly has the mindset of a pro hero. I would never imagine using deception to encourage and motivate others. Hey, you 3. Are you guys going to the station? I want to come with. We turn around again and it's Uraraka. 2, it's the Infinity Girl. My name's Achiko Uraraka. You're Tenya Ida, and your Uraraka draws a blank when she sees me. Makes sense, I didn't leave that much of an impression today. Saiki Kusuo. That's right, the telepathy boy. I never got to properly thank you for helping me back at the entrance exam. Midoriya turns to me. You did? When you went to destroy the giant villain, I helped her out of the rubble so she can save you from falling to the ground. I didn't think about that. There's no need to worry about that, Deku-kun. Deku-kun. While the 3 were talking about Midoriya's nickname that Bakugo gave him, we noticed that a crowd was forming in front of the school gate. What's that crowd about? 2, don't they? No, they're blocking the way. The crowd suddenly opens a path like the Red Sea. I only know one person that is capable of doing this. Walking out of the crowd is a familiar golden glow, THIRTY QUIRKS. And it's Kokomi. THIRTY Oh Midoriya-kun, it slipped my mind that you're here too. Congratulations on making it to U8M. Oh thank you. You, Deku-kun, you know this appealing girl. Midoriya-kun, Kusuo and I are from the same junior high. 2. You must be close with Saiki to call him his given name. Of course, Kokomi happily jumps to me and hugs my arm. I'm his girlfriend after all. A short silence happened before it was broken by Midoriya. You have a girlfriend, Saiki? It's been 2 years. I didn't know. Congratulations. Thank you. Don't think it's something worth congratulating. Being with me is always an accomplishment. Sure. Tomorrow afternoon, All Might. I aim entering through the door like a normal person. The whole class is in awe of All Might's entrance. He really did become a teacher of youth ain't high. I am your teacher for hero basic training, the most important subject on the basics of being a hero. And what we're doing today is combat training. And you can't do that without your costumes. Our training will be in ground beta. A panel emerges from the wall of the classroom with boxes that has our seat numbers. An odd place to put our costumes. If you're wondering about what my costume is, I'm wearing a dark green jumpsuit with pink and black lines made out of hemp. I also have black sport shoes and dark green polycarbonate sports glasses. It's nothing flashy, but my power isn't supposed to be anyway. You all already look like pro heroes. It's time for combat training. The combat training setting will be 2-on-2 indoor battles comprising of 2 heroes and 2 villains. The situation is that the villains have a nuclear weapon somewhere in their hideout. The heroes need to stop them by catching the villains or recovering the weapon. The villains will have to protect their weapon or catch the heroes. Teams and opponents will be decided by lots. When I went to draw my lot after everyone else, the box turned out to be empty. What's the matter, young Saiki? The box is empty. All Might checks the box after me. Oh it is. One All Might thinks for a second and refills the box. New adaptation. Your grading will be adjusted when facing the new 3-person team that young Saiki will join. I pull the new lot with the letter I, making me the same team as Masahiro Ojiro and Toru Hagekure. The first 4 teams that will fight will be first round hero, Team A villain, Team D second round hero, Team B plus villain, Team I. When the second round was announced, I coincidentally met my eyes with the one that covered half of his body with ice. Like he knows that I'm going to be difficult to deal with. POV, Saiki Kusuo. I watched the battle between Team A and Team D in the monitor room. I was proud of Midoriya for being able to face Bakugo with his destructive and intimidating quirk that I've seen myself. It looks he still has problems controlling his quirk, but he still managed to win as the hero. When the 3 came back since Midoriya got heavily injured, Bakugo looked utterly shocked from losing to Midoriya. I'm not even going to bother to try and get close to him because I don't want an explosion to hit my face. After reviewing the results, All Might continues the training. Since our first building sustained a lot of damage, our next match will be Battle Building Bean Match 2. Team B as the heroes, and Team I as the villains. The villain team enters the building to prepare and the heroes will enter after 5 minutes. We were standing in front of the weapon. I was waiting for the heroes while Ojiro was stretching. Hagekure, Ojiro-kun. Saiki-kun. I'm going to go all out. She proceeds to take off the gloves and boots she's wearing. I noticed Ojiro being a bit flustered from the girl's actions and Hagekure seemed to notice. Don't look. Saiki and Ojiro, we can't see you anyway. Oh, are you ready, Saiki? I guess so. Let's start. The horn blares and the 15-minute timer starts. I use my clairvoyance to take a look at what the other team is doing. Mizo Shoji uses his quirk to immediately know our location, even Hagekure's. Todoroki doesn't react from this information and walks ahead. Todoroki, go outside. I'll handle this. they'll be on the defensive to protect their weapon. But that just means they're cornered. Todoroki touches the wall and ice starts rapidly spreading in the building. Watch out. Ojiro and Hagakura, being confused from my sudden caution, caused their legs to be stuck on the ice floor. I can't move. Oh, what a powerful quirk. As soon as I see the ice spread from Todoroki's hand, I jump from the floor and landed on top of the nuclear weapon. If he also froze the weapon, he wouldn't be able to recover it. Todoroki walks inside the room and his eyes widened when he sees me not trapped by the ice. He frowned and tries to trap me by hitting me with 2 ice attacks from the walls of the room. I immediately jump from the weapon and try to attack Todoroki with a right punch. Todoroki dodges and I punch the floor and break the ice that covers it. I balance on my right hand so my body doesn't touch the ice floor. I spin my body with my right hand and I manage to kick the left side of Todoroki's face and he stumbles to the wall. I replace my right hand on the floor to stand on my right leg and dash to Todoroki to continue my attack. I kicked off the ice that covers the left side of his face, causing him to cover that side of his face with his right hand. Under a lot of pressure, Todoroki glares at me and unleashed a sudden fire attack right in front of my face. Get away. The fire attack pushes me away from him and slams me to the wall of the other side of the room. Before the battle, I adjusted my power limiter to greatly reduce my durability so I can get normal injuries. My brother was delighted that I suggested this to him. So now I'm covered with burns and it would be odd if I can keep fighting, especially when I was struck to the wall. Todoroki staggers to the weapon and touches it with his left hand, ending the battle. Hero team wins. After the announcement, Todoroki uses the same hand to melt the ice that covers the entire building, creating steam and water droplets. Ojiro immediately runs to me. Saiki, are you okay? Todoroki walks past us and we look at each other eye to eye once more before leaving the room. Ojiro carries me outside and hands me to the robots that will bring me to the nurse's office. When I made it to the nurse's office, I look to the right and see Midoriya resting. Even after Recovery Girl's quirk, he's still in rough shape. Recovery Girl kisses my cheek to apply her quirk, and all of my injuries were immediately healed, especially because of my high stamina. It would be unnatural to immediately recover and go back to the battle center, so I'll just rest and use my clairvoyance to see what's going on in the monitor room. In the monitor room, the other 4 made it back to the monitor room. Great work out there, Kirishima, you were awesome, Todoroki. Ashido, your quirk is crazy strong. Todoroki doesn't respond to any of the compliments. Instead, he actually looked quite bitter. Hagakure noticed that Ojiro, who was right next to her, looked disappointed. What's wrong, Ojiro-kun? Upset that we lost. Ojiro was slightly surprised by Hagakure's concern and replied, It's not that. I know we didn't stand a chance against Todoroki. It's just that I feel guilty for leaving it all to Saiki. If we had listened to Seiki's warning from the beginning, we wouldn't have been sitting ducks the entire time. Honestly, if we did, I don't think I would catch up to Saiki-kun and Todoroki-kun's fight. You're right, I doubt I would evade Todoroki's attacks like Saiki did. The MVP for this battle was young Todoroki. Sato, I thought so. Zero, it probably wasn't even close. Not exactly. It was a fairly difficult choice between young Todoroki and young Saiki. Kirishima, Saiki. His fight against Todoroki was awesome, but his team still lost. I wonder why. Does anyone know? Yaoyorozu, if I may, All Might Sensei. As you've stated before, Todoroki-san avoided injuring his teammate or damaging the nuclear weapon. He also easily incapacitated 2 of the 3 villains to reach the objective of the weapon. However, Saiki-san had the foresight to find openings and weaknesses to counter Todoroki's overwhelming quirk. When he failed to hit Todoroki at the first strike, he punches the floor and breaks the ice so it takes longer for Todoroki to freeze his hand that was on the floor. He balances his body on his hand and instantly hits Todoroki with a second attack to stop Todoroki from debilitating him. There's also the fact that Todoroki uses a quite excessive fire attack to fend away Saiki that would have been fatal. All Might, in his head once again, she said way more than I expected. All Might. There's also the fact that young Saiki's fighting style and reflexes were very noteworthy, but that's still correct. As soon as the class ended, I wake up from the bed and walk past Midoriya. Recovery girl, you're good to go already. You must be very healthy. I bow my head and leave the nurse's office. Another reason is that Midoriya will probably get a visitor for using his quirk again. When I made it to the hallway, 𝗕𝗫𝗀 sees me from the other side. Oh Saiki. 𝗕𝗫𝗀 runs to me and continues, oh, are your injuries healed? Oh, that's good. Saiki. Oh, I'm sorry that I couldn't do more. It's fine, I don't think both of us would do anything against Todoroki. Oh, but still, when I had to watch you fight Todoroki, you looked really cool. Thanks. Oh, I also felt guilty that you had to fight him all on your own. Say Saiki, if there's gonna be a class where we have to spar against each other, I want to go against you. I want to see how I fare against your unique fighting style. I guess that's fine. Oh yes. Let's have a good year, Saiki. Plus 𝗕𝗫𝗀 runs to the classroom and I walk after him. When I made it to the door, I see Todoroki leaning against the door next to the entrance. I think he's waiting for me for some reason. I guess why, and I approached him by standing next to him. I'm not going to ask for an apology. We fought fairly and you won, so don't worry about it. Todoroki just stares at me and I can tell that I lifted a burden off of his shoulders. But that's not the only thing I want to say to him. You know, you're not going to get that far if you continue hiding that fire power of yours. I'd think that it's dangerous to only use one and not the other. There's a reason why you're born with both. 2 and I entered the classroom. Todoroki just looks at the back of my head in bewilderment. POV, Saiki Kusuo, good grief, nowadays being in 𝗕𝗁 is disastrous. Ever since news came out that All Might became a teacher here, the school gate is cluttered with news reporters, cameramen and journalists. And they kept bothering the students that want to enter. Naturally, I just walk past them like they don't exist while they yell at me with hurried questions about All Might. I'm not expected to, I'm supposed to be mute. I am surprised to see some of my classmates entertain them. Thank God the security system stops them from bothering us behind the gate. One of the reporters took a step on the gate and the steel gate instantly stopping entry. I see the gate closing in and through the gaps of shuffling human bodies, there's a single person standing alone on the other side of the street staring at the school. A slim man in a black long-sleeved shirt and with grayish-blue hair. And I make eye contact with his bright red eyes surrounded with wrinkles and scars. He looked very suspicious, but I didn't think much of it at the time. That day, we were supposed to pick a class representative. When almost everyone else volunteered so they can be a leader and practice for being a prominent hero, I didn't even lift a finger. Goes directly against my goal of not standing out. 2. Silence. Ida yells at the back, silencing the chaotic class. 2. This is an important responsibility. It is a responsibility that requires the cooperation and trust of those around you. I propose that we hold an election to choose our class representatives. He says that while raising his hand the highest. Everyone voted and Midoriya became the class representative somehow. Even I didn't vote for him. Ida shakes in his seat for not being close in the running, only having a single vote. I surprisingly somehow also got 1 vote. I look to 𝗕𝗫𝗀 and he smiles at me with his thumbs up. I appreciate the gesture. In lunch rush cafeteria I was sitting with Midoriya, Uraraka and Ida. The conversation started with Midoriya not being confident in being the class representative, but Ida and Uraraka assured him by talking about his admirable qualities. As much as I agree that he has praiseable bravery and quick thinking from what I've observed, Midoriya has other things to worry about, primarily his inconsistent control over his quirk, so I stayed silent. Now that I think about it, Midoriya unexpectedly turns to me. You were the only person who didn't raise his hand. You don't want to be the class representative, Saiki. I was caught off guard, but I take 1 more bite of the coffee jelly I was eating before responding. I wasn't interested. Really? It's a good chance to practice leadership as a pro hero in the future. I glance at Ida briefly before giving an answer. As Ida said, being a class representative is an important responsibility. I would be as worried as you are if I was in your shoes. Ida was pleasantly surprised by how I supported his reasoning, seeing that he was the only one that suggested it earlier. The reasoning is subliminally supported by the fact that being a class representative for people as strong-headed as Bakugo and Todoroki sounds like a massive pain. You say that, but you still somehow got one vote. I'm just as surprised as you are. 2. Not necessarily. The class sees you quite highly since your battle with Todoroki. Now that he mentioned it, I was instantly surrounded by my classmates after talking with Todoroki last time. Deku also got the same treatment after returning to class, so I didn't think it was a big deal. At least we both got some benefit from All Might's training practice. Suddenly, the school bell starts ringing throughout the entire school. Is that an alarm? Announcement: there has been a Level 3 security breach. All students please evacuate outdoors promptly. Ida urgently asked the senior student beside him. 2. What's Level 3 security breach? Senior student: someone's trespassing on school grounds. This never happened while I was here for 3 years. You should move too. All of the students are rushing outside, causing the hallways to be congested with human traffic. I pretend to be pushed around in the crowd so I won't cause any trouble. Following the flow, I was pushed to the glass wall and Ida is coincidentally next to me. 2. Saiki. Are you okay? Yeah. 2. Who would dare trespass you? We both look outside and see the press inside of school grounds, and the only thing stopping them was Aizawa-sensei and Present Mike trying to hold them off peacefully. 2. It's not dangerous. Everyone, there's no need to pouch. Ida's call was interrupted by the crowd pushing him to the wall as the chaos in the hallway continues. Ida turns to me. 2. What should we do, Saiki? I look away from him, and when he followed my stare, we see Uraraka being pulled away from us by the crowd. Ida. I turn to him and he sees me enduring the push of the crowd while putting my hands on top of each other. 2. Saiki. This is getting annoying. Jump from my hands and reach her. Do something about this. 2. Uraraka-kun. You are Ida-kun. Ida without a second thought runs to me, steps on my hands and jumps. 2. Make me float. With one touch of a hand, Ida floats over the crowd, uses his engine boost to propel to the upper wall of the other side of the hallway. 2. It's okay. The moving crowd instantly stops and looks to the Ida above, sticking himself to the wall, standing on the emergency exit sign. 2. The trespassers are just the media. There is no need to panic. Act accordingly as students of the esteemed 𝗕. The tension and unease from the crowd slowly dissipates as they see the police enter the school to deal with the media. When class resumed, Midoriya proposed to the class that he should be replaced with Ida as the class representative. Everyone agreed, especially after his act during the security breach. 2. I promised to do my best. Kirishima, looking forward to it. Emergency exit Ida. Didn't think the person I voted for would be the class rep at the end. I would be satisfied if the day ended on a good note, but... Kusuo. A familiar voice reaches out to me. Mr. Nizu. Meet me in my office after school. It's important. Usually, I would be annoyed by the principal calling me in an unnecessarily personal way, but his tone sounded serious. So I don't know what to expect. 1 week later, 12:50 p.m. Aizawa, today's hero basic training will be supervised by All Might, me and one more instructor. Sounds like the scope of this class will be bigger than usual. Zero, excuse me sensei, what kind of training are we going to do? Rescue training. Disasters, shipwrecks and everything else related. The class volume turns louder in excitement and anticipation until Aizawa-sensei continues. Silence, I'm still talking. Aizawa presses a button that opens the panels with our hero costumes. You have the option of not wearing your costumes, as there's the possibility of your costumes hindering the rescue training. Honestly, if your costume isn't suited for rescue, you should reconsider how your costume is made. The training center will be away from school grounds, so we're getting there by bus. Get ready. I walked to my costume suitcase and I lifted it. Mr. Nizu was right, this was heavier than before. Before making it to the unforeseen simulation joint, the place our rescue training will take place, nothing much happens. I notice Midoriya wearing his 𝗕𝗄𝗏 clothes, and hearing his conversation with Uraraka tells me that his costume is still under maintenance from the last basic hero training against Bakugo. There was also a lively conversation during the bus ride, but I didn't take part. As we leave the bus, we are welcomed by 13, the space hero. 13, you're all finally here. Uraraka and Midoriya got excited being greeted by her. From what I've heard from Midoriya, her specialty as a pro hero is disaster rescue, so it's apparent why she's an instructor for this class. When we enter the USJ, everyone else was at awe of the size of the joint. The 3 instructors make sense now. A shipwreck, a landslide, a fire, a windstorm, a collapse, and more, a practice center of my creation comprised of many types of disaster, the unforeseen simulator joint. Do not know if that's coincidental to an already established amusement park. Hey, where's All Might? He's supposed to be with you. Now that I think about it, I looked outside the window using my clairvoyance to observe the entire city, and I noticed that All Might has been jumping around resolving crimes. He probably burned himself out. Aizawa responds after hearing 13's reason discreetly. As selfless as ever. It should be fine, we can begin the class. 13 starts the class by explaining her quirk, Black Hole. A surprising quirk for a pro hero specializing in disaster rescue, as the nature of a black hole is destructive. But she wouldn't be a pro hero if she couldn't control it. Aizawa's physical fitness test shows that you're hidden potential. All Might's combat training shows you the danger of quirks in hostile confrontation. This class is different. This class teaches you on how you can use your quirks to save people. Your powers are not meant to harm, but are meant to help others. That is my briefing. Thank you for listening. The class applauds her insightful and motivational lecture. It also made me reflect and remind myself, my amount of quirks does make me seem powerful against evil, but my potential to help and save others are just as high. Now that you understand, before Aizawa could continue, I notice a blue spark run through the lights that revolve around the dome, dimming it to close. The fountain in the middle of the center starts struggling, like there's an unknown force interrupting it. A dark purple swirl shows up in thin air and massively expands to form a wall. Stay together. 13, protect the students. I've never seen Aizawa-sensei this high-strung, so this is very much not an act. The other students start to notice that something's wrong. Kirishima, what's that? A familiar slim man in a black long-sleeved shirt and with grayish-blue hair walks out of the dark purple mist, but this time, his body has extensions of model hands on his arms and shoulders. There's one covering his face, and between the fingers, my eyes meet his bright red stare once more. I couldn't tell you why this situation is repeating like the last time I saw him. I should have believed the obvious hint that he had something to do with the chaos lately. Looks like his name is Shigaraki. Behind him are many villains walking out as well, like mist acts as a portal. Is this part of the training? Stay here. Aizawa-sensei puts his goggles on, preparing for the worst. Those are real villains. Of course Mr. Nizu's concerns are spot on. 1 week ago POV, Saiki Kusuo, I walk to the door of Mr. Nizu's office and knock. Nizu, you can come in. I enter the office and see Mr. Nizu sit on the principal's desk on the other side of the room. But when I look at the couches in front of his desk, I see an annoying, overly familiar face happily waving his hand at me. It's my super genius psychotic older brother, Saiki Kusuo. It's me. Can I excuse myself, Mr. Nizu? I understand your relationship with your brother, but his presence is necessary. I heavily sigh and sit as far from my brother as possible. Kusuo, you're making me sad. I flew from England just to see you. I'd appreciated it more if you stayed there. It's such a shame that you have to pretend to. Be mute for your quirk weakness, especially with my headpiece that blocks telepathy. We can change that if you lend me your headpiece. Last time you tried to kill me with a giant robot as a way of testing. What's wrong with a little bit of sparring? There's something wrong when you had crazy eyes and laughing maniacally in the middle of it. Well, this meeting is partially about your headpiece. I was sidetracked with dealing with my brother that Nizu's statement seemed sudden. What is this meeting about, Mr. Nizu? That had to involve him. 𝗘𝗁𝗢𝗏. That's not a compliment. In case you're not aware, 𝗕𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗏 security breach happened because the metal gate at the front was turned into dust. Doesn't sound like something the media was able to do. It sure isn't. It was the work of a third party. And that gave me a bad feeling. Was it a slip of evil, or a declaration of war? He sounded paranoid, but I wouldn't dismiss the instincts of a pro-hero. So what's the relation of that incident to this meeting? Mr. Nizu stands up. Then, Kusuo, and he bows at me. Please protect this school. I was caught off guard by his action. It's okay, Mr. Nizu, I just would like more explanation by what you mean. Mr. Nizu smiles and sits back down. I want you to do what you can to provide protection to our students. Even if all of the staff in this school are pro-heroes. Even so, the staff can't be everywhere. I just want you to be additional inside protection. I can imagine doing that would be difficult, seeing that I'm supposed to be one of the students that should be protected. Think of it as advanced practice for being a pro-hero for an advanced student such as yourself. He's trying very hard to understate it. The solution to your problem also involves your brother. I look to my brother with a stupidly big smile and I look away in annoyance. The 𝗕𝗶𝗶𝗿𝗵𝘆 is collaborating with your brother to provide a more secretive hero costume for you to wear as a disguise. Is it possible for the comedy make the costume without my brother? 𝗘𝗁𝗏𝗏. Unfortunately, you're the only person in the country that has those unique headpieces, so even if you wear a new costume, you can be easily identified if you had those same accessories. And my brother refuses to give you instructions on replicating them. You bet. He should not be proud of that. How is that not negotiated? Let's just say the commission has a history with Mr. Kusuki. History. The comedy tried to make me work under them because of my relation with Kusuo, but the thought of working under someone makes me want to destroy the city. It's worrisome that it doesn't look like that he's joking. So in exchange of me not being a villain that will go against you, the commission gives me freedom to do what I want and I'm treated on equal footing as the comedy. I was wondering why he hasn't become a villain. So that's why you casually went to England despite being a Japanese super genius. Since I'm restricted in having fun with my Kusuo, never say that again. Being in Japan is so boring. At least there's some fun in messing with people in Cambridge. And because of that, you have to give your headpiece to your brother for him to incorporate your headpiece in your costume. I look to Kusuki again, showing both palms to me with the same stupid smile. I heavily sigh again and reluctantly give Kusuki my headpieces. I swear if he does anything weird with them present time in front of me are villains exiting a wide portal into the unforeseen simulation joint. Of course Mr. Nizu's concerns are spot on. Aizawa, so they were behind that trespassing incident. Kirishima, how did they even get here? Yaoyorozu, sensei, what happened to the security sensors? 13. It is strange that it's not going off Todoroki. We don't know if they're only appearing here or somewhere else in the school. Either way, they probably had a quirk that dealt with it. An oddly specific time and place could not be coincidental. As expected of a recommendation student, being as sharp as ever. That would mean that it's a radio wave type. 13. Start the evaluation and contact the school. Kaminari, try contacting the school with your quirk as well. Kaminari, why you got it? Midoriya, are you going to hold them off all by yourself, sensei? Confrontational combat isn't your fighting style, eh? I wouldn't be a pro-hero if I couldn't adapt. I leave it to you. 13. Aizawa dashes to the center and is making quick work of the villains. As 13 tells us to retreat, the mist slips past Aizawa and blocks us from the exit. I manage to grasp his name. Kurojiiri, there's no escape. Pleased to meet you. We are the League of Villains. Excuse us for welcoming ourselves in the esteemed UA High School for the purpose of disposing all might, the symbol of peace. Weirdly distinguished to tell us everything. Kuro, I am surprised that he is not here. But I will continue to play my role. Before 13 could act, Kirishima and Bakugo jump at the villain, creating an explosion and smoke clouds. Kirishima, don't look down on us. As the smoke clouds subside, the mist regains shape but shows a metal brace below his head. Kuro, that was dangerous. I should have factored in on you potential heroes. The villains start surrounding us with the mist, and I felt like I was dragged into another place. I would escape, but while using my clairvoyance, I found that there were villains all over the facility, so I decided to help deal with the villains instead of pretending to be a sitting duck being unable to use my quirks. I jump off the portal and landed on a city covered in flames. It's safe to assume that I'm in the fire zone. I can't be bothered to hold back on these villains, so I might as well activate my new costume dash. Saiki. I look to the source of the call and I see 𝗔𝗫𝘀𝗀 jumping down, landing next to me. 𝗔𝗫𝘀𝗀, glad to see that I'm not the only one. I'm glad that my presence assures you, but I would have preferred if you didn't find me. As soon as we meet, we were immediately surrounded by villains. Oh, Saiki, we need to run, we can't take them on directly by ourselves. I know you can keep up with meanness, 𝗔𝗫𝘀𝗀. 𝗔𝗫𝘀𝗀 was surprised because I was silent the entire time. Oh, what is it? I can't tell him to leave me behind, and running away while fighting sounds like a waste of time. So there's only one thing we should do. You said you want to spar with me, right? What about it? I stretch my neck and do a small warm-up. If you want a chance at fighting me on equal level, then you need to keep up with me. Oh, are you saying S? Can you watch my blind spots? 𝗔𝗫𝘀𝗀 looks at me in awe and replies in determination. Oh, leave it to me. Not like I have any, but restricting my powers does leave me with more openings. I run to the first 3 villains in front of me and their quirks look like one that shoot bullets. Villain, shoot them down. I jump over their bullets and I knee the center villain in the face with my left leg, and immediately kick the villain on the left with my right leg, putting 2 down. I look to the right and 𝗔𝗫𝘀𝗀 manages to stop the third villain. A big spiked villain tries to tackle and impale me, but I kick the villain's legs to make him fall. When he fell, I grab the villain's leg and slam him to the ground. A villain with a scythe wants to slice my body in half, but his swing was so slow that I just punch him in the face before his weapon can reach me. 2 lizard villains start to attack me at the same time. One swings his tail at me, so I jump over it and immediately stomp on his tail to the ground. The other tries to claw at me with his left claw, but I dodge, grab his wrist with my left hand, pull him to me and punch his face with my right hand. At one point, an invisible villain tries to jump me, but I can hear his thoughts from a mile away, so I slam his head with the palm of my hand to the ground. After dealing with many unimportant villains, we made it outside of the zone. I was surprised that 𝗔𝗫𝘀𝗀𝗀 was able to keep up with me, especially when I just rushed to the villains and taking down multiple of them under a short amount of time. Oh, breathe, we made it. It does make sense that he's tired, but his efforts are still commendable. You should go help 13 Sensei. Oh, what about you? I'll help the others that might be fighting villains in other parts of the facility. Oh, you got it. I made 𝗔𝗫𝘀𝗀𝗀 trust me enough to leave me alone, especially when he got tired from following me. As I wait for 𝗔𝗫𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀 to be far enough, I finally get a chance to use the new costume. As admirable as Aizawa-sensei is, he can't deal with all of those villains himself. As I click on the side of my headpiece, metal starts sticking out from the headpiece and my jumpsuit that begins covering my body. My headpiece assimilates into the costume and the pink color pops up in a few parts of my costume. My green sunglasses turned pink as well. I look at myself with my clairvoyance, and I look like green robot with pink and black as the secondary color. As a precautionary step, I aged my body to an adult so my 2 identities won't be similar in age. Alright, time to see my first step. I used my clairvoyance again and I see a bloody Aizawa being held down by a big humanoid monster with a bird-like head and an exposed brain while Azui, Midoriya and Mineta watch in the distance. Shigaraki suddenly dashes to Azui trying to harm her. I was about to do something but, let go of her. Smash? Midoriya tried to stop him with a smash-powered punch, creating a powerful gust of wind that was blowing the nearby villains away, breaking the lights and moving the water around them. But when the dust subsides, the strong punch was stopped by the Nomu. The Nomu grabs his arm and tries to hurt him with its other hand. I know what to do now. I get into a kneeling starting position, and ran to Shigaraki in light speed doing the same punch that Midoriya did. In my observation, the Nomu prioritizes protecting Shigaraki before anything else, as seen with Midoriya's attack. The Nomu lets go of Midoriya and blocks my punch with its body like before. Everyone around me looked at me in shock and confusion since I came out of nowhere. Shigaraki's hand no longer was reaching for Azui and Mineta and instead was on the ground in surprise from my sudden attack. Shigaraki, who the hell are you? Nomu grabs my arm like it did with Midoriya and tries to break my arm with a downwards punch with its other hand. I stop the other hand with mine and creates a crater under my feet. Shigaraki, you've got to be kidding me. Before he could finish, the doors of the facility burst open. Everyone turns to the sound and see a familiar massive figure in a white-collared long sleeve and blue tie, yellow and brown shoes. It's fine now. Plus All Might, I am here. Finally. POV, Saiki Kusuo 2 All Might, it's fine now. I'm here. He's finally here. Shigaraki loses interest in me and stands to face All Might. Shigaraki, you took your time, hero. You scum of society. The villains that were left watch All Might in fear and hesitate to face him. Not that they had a chance. All of the villains that were in the way for All Might to reach Aizawa were immediately defeated in a glimpse. All Might carries Aizawa and turns to face us. In a second, All Might grabs Midoriya, Azui, Mineta and even me away from Shigaraki and the Nomu. He even managed to land a hit on Shigaraki. It was so fast that everyone barely noticed that they moved. All Might, get to safety. Take care of Aizawa. We don't have time. All Might, that brain villain took a punch from me with no effect. All Might, young Midoriya. All Might turns to Midoriya with confidence. It's fine. The others get away and All Might finally talks to me. Are you okay, young man? I click a button at the neck of my costume to turn on a robot voice filter to disguise my voice. Yes, I'm fine. For protecting my students. I can't thank you enough. I was caught off guard by All Might's gentle tone. I was actually pretty moved too, having a short connection with the symbol of peace. Can you fight alongside me, young man? I punch my palm to make a loud thumping sound. I'll try my best. While we were talking, Kurogyari comes back and appears next to Shigaraki. And suddenly, Kurogyari's body started expanding irregularly. I can even hear him yell in pain, like he's being forced. Next thing I knew, a foreign body leaps out of Kurogyari and tackles me in rapid speed, forcing me out of the fight between All Might and Nomu. Young men. That was the last thing I hear within earshot while being forcefully pushed away. I looked down to see a muscled figure pushing me while running full sprint. I noticed that he was about to tackle me through the walls of the facility, but I prefer not showing my hero disguise in public. As soon as I wanted to strike down the figure's exposed back, the figure pushed away and I get to take a full look of what I'm facing. It had the same exposed brain and beak of the other Nomu, but its muscles are more defined and its body shape and size is just the same as mine. It's probably not the same type of Nomu. During my thinking, the Nomu instantly dashes at me and throws a left punch. This Nomu's more offensive. As I dodge to the right, I saw from that straight punch that this Nomu is fully intending on knocking me out. As soon as I try to counter with a right jab to the Nomu's left waist, the Nomu instantly turns with a right roundhouse kick and I barely dodged that one too. That kick barely felt natural, it felt instinctive. I had an idea on what this Nomu is capable of. The Nomu immediately recovers from the kick and tries a right hook. I take a step back, instantly revert my step and try an uppercut to the Nomu's jaw. The Nomu dodges again and rapidly does another left straight punch. I swerve to the left and try to jab the Nomu's abdomen. The Nomu swiftly moves back and does a side kick to my head. I raise my left arm to block the kick, slightly pushing me back. I figured it out. This Nomu's strength is counter. Every time I try to land a hit, the Nomu will quickly dodge it and respond with a prompt counterattack of its own. The Nomu that All Might is facing is huge and is built to absorb attacks, while this Nomu is made to be as offensive as possible. After a few minutes of swinging and dodging hits with the Nomu, I get accustomed to its speed and used my clairvoyance to check on All Might and the other Nomu. All Might is landing multiple strikes on it, but the shock absorption is quite effective. I also had a feeling that All Might isn't going all out either. In his head **𝗕𝗓𝗄𝐻𝗫. I can't focus because I'm worried about the young man earlier. Even I'm having trouble with these creatures. I don't know if the young man can make it out alive. I'm holding him back. I can kill the 𝗕𝗓 right here, but I can't attract attention to myself by doing better than the number one hero. Let's just hope he can hold on. I put my arms down and allow myself to be relentlessly attacked by the 𝗕𝗓. I also start reducing my durability little by little to take damage. As soon as I begin bleeding, I extended my palm to reach the 𝗕𝗓's neck, but the 𝗕𝗓's quirk is still in effect and moves its head to the right. I immediately turn the hand to a fist and swing towards the 𝗕𝗓's head. The 𝗕𝗓 ducks and I continue attacking. If the 𝗕𝗓's whole tactic is to dodge and attack, all I have to do is outspeed it. One of the 𝗕𝗓's punches seemed out of place, so I managed to catch its fist. The 𝗕𝗓 begins screaming from the top of its lungs like it's frustrated, but it's too late. Since this 𝗕𝗓's full offense, that just means that it has low defenses. I pull the 𝗕𝗓 towards me and I somehow punched a hole through its abdomen. The 𝗕𝗓's tense muscles loosen and falls to the ground, its lifeless body hanging from my arm. I pull my arm and grab the 𝗕𝗓 by its head. When I started moving, I feel immense pain from the multiple bruises around my body because of the 𝗕𝗓. I can only limp my way back to the center of the training facility while dragging the corpse. When I made it, I was further behind All Might and Midoriya. I also saw that Bakugo, Todoroki and Kirishima made it here too. Facing them is Shigaraki, Kurogiri, and the 𝗕𝗓. Since Shigaraki was facing me, he was the first one that noticed my presence. Shigaraki, no way. The heroes are caught off guard by his surprise and turned around to see my injured body with the dead 𝗕𝗓. Why young man? Midoriya, he beat the 𝗕𝗓 Kirishima. Who's that? While Bakugo and Todoroki were in silent shock from my sudden presence. Shigaraki starts vigorously scratching his neck in anger. Who the hell are you? For you to kill a. I raise my fist in the air to assure them. Yes, I am here. And I fall to the ground in fatigue. Before I lose consciousness, I see All Might turn from me while clenching his fists. Bring the young man to safety, and the last thing I hear before my senses started to dull. He is an honorable hero. 30 minutes later, I wake up in a familiar place. The thin mattress and the uncomfortable smell of antiseptics tells me I'm back at the nurse's office. I stood up and turned to see Nizu sitting facing the side of the bed. Recovery girl was right, you do have impressive stamina to recover that fast. Mr. Nizu did anything Nizu raises a paw to stop me from talking. This isn't the right place to talk about it. Also, isn't a certain student absent at his class right now? I look to my body and realize I'm still in my hero disguise. Where's recovery girl? She went to apply first aid on the injured. Knowing that we're alone, I transform back to my normal student self. Having two identities is tiring. Are you regretting it? Usually I would have a handful of complaints. I had to hold back on fighting an annoying hand-to-hand combatant of a 𝗕𝗓 and allow myself to be pummeled down. But, he is an honorable hero. I choose to not respond. I can sense Nizu smiling behind me when I was walking out of the nurse office. I teleported nearby the facility and jogged to the entrance where the entire class was. Coincidentally, there was a man in a detective uniform doing a roll call for the class. Tsukachi, there's 20. Everyone turned to me that just arrived and Ojiro rushed to me. Saiki, where were you? I got ambushed by a bunch of villains and it roughed me up, so I had to be sent to the clinic. Thank God. I thought something happened to you after we left the fire zone. Hagakure, Saiki was with you in the fire zone. Yeah. We would have been stuck there if Saiki didn't convince me to fight through all the villains. Kirishima, do you guys recognize the hero that showed up before the pro heroes? Azui, you mean the green and pink robot guy. Tokoyami, green and pink robot. He managed to beat one of the monster guys that All Might fought. He also saved Midoriya from the other 𝗕𝗓 too. Even if it took all he had to beat it, the fact that he even did was awesome. I hope he's okay. Ojiro turns to me out of curiosity since both my identities are injured. Oh, you know him, Saiki? S. No clue. You know, his green and pink color scheme seems familiar. 𝗕𝙬𝗎𝗓 starts thinking while I worry about how both of my outfits have the same colors. It had to, since it's difficult for my outfit to change color. K reminds me of Dango. What? A. Would he be Dango Man or 𝗕𝗂𝘁𝗵𝗿𝗍? It's true that I don't have a hero name, and I'm not particularly upset at being compared to a desert, but I prefer not being called Dango Man. 2 hours later, I explain my experience against the villains to Principal Nizu in his office. N. This is worrisome. S. If I wasn't there, I doubt even All Might would have been able to fend off 2 of those monsters. N. And for that I am eternally grateful. I'm also worried that these 𝗏𝗏s that you say have different sizes N, and that there's more than one. S. Sounds troublesome. It really is. I'm glad that you accepted my request of protecting the school. S. It's a pain that I had to act shortly after that request. N. But this also works in our favor. I look to Mr. Nizu in wonder while eating a serving of coffee jelly that Mr. Nizu bought for me as a reward for my hard work. S. Why is that? N. The unmotivated Kusuo I know had to drag himself to a real fight, learning to fight for himself in the world of pro heroes. N. I also think you actually had a good experience from it. I look away, unwilling to admit his statement. N. You can walk away from our deal if you want, but there's a chance that those villains are going to hold a grudge against you for getting in their way. I started to realize that even if I showed that I can barely beat a 𝗏𝗏, I was also recognized as a threat to the villains since I can fight against their secret weapon that can match All Might's power. S. This is so tiring. N. The villains made a severe mistake. N. They acknowledged you as a pro hero, and from that you will become our secret weapon against what they'll throw at us. N. So are you going to accept that call, Kusuo? I groan under my breath for carelessly involving myself in a serious situation. Just a week ago, I just planned to be a normal hero under an underwhelming hero agency. S. Good grief. Not that I have a choice. N. That's the spirit. Well, because of this, I might even have to deal with that odd presence of bloodlust that I've sensed around the city lately. POV. Saiki Kusuo. It took everything I had to convince Mr. Nizu to not take part in the meeting about the villain's attack. He needs to remember that I'm still a student and not a pro hero. I don't even have a hero name yet. When the school finally opened up again after the incident, the class talked about how we made it to the news because of it. They also talked about how All Might and the other pro heroes saved them. Kirishima, I wonder how that green and pink cyborg is doing. He's doing quite well, but I won't be the one to say it. But I appreciate his consideration. Ashido, Tsu, who's gonna teach homeroom today? 𝗕𝗓𝗓𝗏, Aizawa-sensei should still be recovering in the hospital. Aizawa. Morning. Everyone turned to see Aizawa with his face and both of his arms fully wrapped in bandages. Ida, are you all right, Aizawa-sensei? Uraraka, he doesn't look all right. AI, my health doesn't matter. There are more serious matters to discuss. Bakugo, more serious. Midoriya, can't be Mineta, is it? AI, the sports festival. Won the whole class, a normal school event. The homeroom continued on how everyone was worried that the sports festival will be attacked again and how special the sports festival was in its scope and how it gives us a chance to be scouted by pro agencies. During lunchtime, everyone started talking about the sports festival. Midoriya, everyone's really excited for the sports festival. Ida, what about you? Of course I am as well, it's just they both turned to me silently reading a book, not moving an inch since homeroom. 2. Do you not feel the same, Saiki? I close my book and pretend to think. S. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Your laxness is as assuring as ever, Saiki. Uraraka, Deku-kun, Ida-kun, Saiki-kun. The three of us face Uraraka, who's been glaring at us with determination. Let's do our best at the sports festival. Uraraka, your face. It's Uraraka punches the air and declares to the entire class, everyone, I'm gonna do my best. Everyone she faced also raises their hand in hesitant response, even me, albeit slowly in confusion. Before heading to the cafeteria, we learn that Uraraka wants to become a pro hero so she can make money for her parents. Ida starts cheering and clapping his hands above his head because of her noble motivation. I even gave a few light claps in respect. At least she has it more figured out than I do. Right after that conversation, All Might invites Midoriya to eat lunch with him. At the same time, I hear Mr. Nizu talking to me through telepathy. Kusuo, you should drop by the principal's office. I excused myself by saying that I wanted to go to the toilet. I walked to the hallway that has Mr. Nizu's office and laid my back right outside of the room. I'm in front of your office, Mr. Nizu. You don't want to come in. One visit to the principal's office is enough for me as a normal student, unless it's something important as last time. Don't worry, it's not. I just want to talk to you. And it had to be now. Now's the only time that you would be interested. Go on. I'm sure you heard the announcement about the sports festival. As with everyone else. I'm just curious to know how you're going to tackle it. I was planning to do well on the first half and unfortunately lose on the second. That's no good. I'll adjust and work hard enough to get scouted at any hero agency. It's the least I can do. I actually have a request about the sports festival. No matter what you say, I refuse to go first place. Sounds like you listen to my inner wishes there. As much as I want to, I know how adamant you are against being in the spotlight, but my request is slightly different. Which is, I want you to act as an additional obstacle for the students. Are the events for the sports festival not enough for obstacles? Most of the events for the sports festival consist of battles between students, where only one will stand on top. So a glorified tournament. And what does that have to do with me? Especially when I don't plan on winning it. Would you be satisfied if the students you let place above you fail to meet expectations as pro heroes? A sudden heavy question. Not really. You're aware of that, but you would still let it happen. I respect your longing to not garner attention, but unnecessarily putting others above you has their drawbacks. Especially for someone as capable as you, Kusuo. So you're still insisting on me taking first place? Not exactly. Even though you're the most gifted student in the school, taking part in the festival can help you learn to not look down your fellow schoolmates. You think I'm condescending? Then, of course not. You're just too used to holding back. So I would appreciate it if you allow yourself to let loose, even just a little bit. So what are you trying to tell me after all this? In conclusion, if you want to lose a round, I would prefer if you lost to someone promising. And you're willing to trust me on who it is. I am. Because both you and I wouldn't be happy at the end if you didn't. He was only able to say that because of his one question to me this entire conversation. Would you be satisfied if the students you let place above you fail to meet expectations as pro heroes? Not really. Mr. Nizu is as sly as usual, being able to talk me out of my original plan. Good grief. I can't win against you, Mr. Nizu Wanen. I am your benefactor after all, Kusuo. Good talk. One is good talk. Sometime later the U8 sports festival finally starts and everyone in the class had to wear the school's sportswear in the waiting room. The door opens and our loud class representative appears. 2. Are you ready, everyone? We will be starting soon. Everyone tries to calm their anxiety while I was silently sitting on one of the chairs of the waiting room the entire time. Todoroki, Midoriya. Midoriya, Todoroki. What is it? Everyone in the class turns to them in curiosity. Objectively, I am sure I'm stronger than you. I guess so, an odd way to start a conversation. But All Might has his eye on you, doesn't he? Midoriya looks to Todoroki in surprise. Even if that was made clear by some, no one wanted to assume since it involves the number one hero. That's why Todoroki was the first person to say it to Midoriya himself. I won't intrude any further, but I'm going to defeat you. Kaminari, what's this? The class's strongest is at each other's throats. Kirishima stands up and tries to mediate the situation. Kirishima, hold on, why are you starting something out of nowhere? The sports festival hasn't even started yet. We're not here to get along. There's no point to it. As soon as Todoroki looks away from Midoriya, Todoroki gives me a piercing stare since I'm right behind Midoriya. And I doubt that was coincidental. He's still wary of me since we fought during combat training. Todoroki, you being better than me is not a lie. I think you're even better than most of us objectively, Kirishima. You don't have to be negative, Midoriya, but still, everyone, even students from other courses, are trying their hardest to win. I'm not going to let them overtake me. So I will enter this sports festival with everything I got. Todoroki's eyes dart to me again and I just give a casual smirk, while only speaking to him through telepathy so no one else can hear me. You heard him. I understand. It almost seemed like he wanted my answer as well. The festival starts with everyone walking to the middle of the arena, surrounded by quaking cheers of spectators. Kokomi did tell me that she's going to be here as well. I haven't mentioned her lately. I've been very much distracted with life-threatening incidents, so that's probably why. One eye quickly looked around the entire stadium, and I see her golden glow stick out in the spectator area. If I focus on the sound, I can hear her cheer, Saiki Kusuo. You can do it. I lightly wave at her direction and she vigorously waves back. I see the guys around her watch in awe of her beauty. Mineta, who's that appealing girl? If he thinks of anything weird, I will pummel him to the ground if we face each other during the sports festival. We were gathered in front of the stage where we see the chief umpire for the first years, the R-rated hero, Midnight. Midnight, calling the student representative, Katsuki Bakugo from Class 1A. As unfitting as it looks, Bakugo was the highest scorer in the entrance exam. Bakugo, I solemnly swear, Bakugo, that I will be the winner, Class 1A. Of course he said that. I guess it's in character. The first deciding game for the qualifier is the obstacle race. All the participants will run around the outer circumference of the stadium as long as 4 kilometers, and as long as we stay on the track, anything is allowed. We start the race in a narrow hallway that will cause human congestion right at the start. I slowly slide my body in every opening available in front of me. As soon as I feel the sunlight again outside, I hear a familiar sound that I was wary of before. The sound of freezing. I immediately jump to dodge the ice covering the floor and stomp on the ice to break it so I don't fall. I look ahead and I see Todoroki already having a head start. Right in front of me are Kirishima, Yaoyorozu, Aoyama, and Bakugo chasing him. Yaoyorozu, not this time, Todoroki. Bakugo, I ain't letting you get ahead. You half and half BSTRD. My classmates can be flashy, but they can be effective. I casually slide on Todoroki's ice, and when I look behind me, I also see Ojiro being fast enough to jump over the ice. Ojiro notices me looking at him and gives me a thumbs up. You dodged it this time. You bet. Even Mineta manages to get over the ice by using his quirk as a stepping stone. As soon as he was about to attack Todoroki, he was struck away by a familiar obstacle. The faux villains from the entrance exam. And as the announcer calls it, Robo Inferno. Todoroki did not hesitate to unleash a large-scale ice attack to freeze one of the large 0-point faux villains we've seen in the entrance exam. Some try to use the path that Todoroki opened, but the giant robotic villain's parts break down and reigns over the students. I wonder if Todoroki is an example of what Mr. Niza meant as someone promising. Maybe I'll actually have a little fun with this sports festival. POV, Saiki Kusuo, a random student. Wait. The robot fell on someone. Todoroki even thought about using the fallen debris to stop everyone from catching up to him. Random student 2, are they dead? The top of the metal robot breaks to show Kirishima surviving the impact. Kirishima, like hell. And coincidentally, Tetsu from Class B also broke free the same way right next to Kirishima. Tetsu, that Class A BSTRD. And they both ran forward at the same pace. It's uncanny how similar they are. That's enough admiring for now. I jump to the spot they both were and follow them. I don't need to show myself needlessly destroying these chunks of metal. I made it to the second obstacle that shows a far and deep canyon that can only be crossed through stone platforms and ropes connecting each one, and as Present Mike calls it, the fall. I walk towards the edge to see that the canyon was so deep that the bottom was covered in darkness. Uraraka, how did they make this? I look next to me to see Uraraka, Ashido, and Azui. Ashido, oh Saiki, you made it. During this, we notice 𝗕𝙬𝗎 casually walk past us. 𝗕𝗁𝗎 jumps from the edge and easily crawls over the rope. Her frog quirk is really coming in handy. So fast. We hear laughing behind us to see 𝗕𝗁𝗎𝗵, a Class 2H support student. 𝗕𝗁𝗎𝗵, finally. I can show off my support items. You're from the support course. You can bring items. While the hero course does combat training, the support course can bring our own items and costumes we made ourselves. I start doing some light stretches. I should probably start moving too. Saiki Kusuo. As soon as 𝗕𝗁𝗎𝗵 starts racing to the obstacle, I also start running next to her. While she smartly maneuvers through the stone platforms with her wire arrows and hover saws, my approach is more traditional, just jumping from platform to platform. Whoa, there's something else. Before focusing ahead, I turn to 𝗕𝗫𝗄 and 𝗬𝗪𝗢 looking to us with determination. I'm not going to get left behind. 𝗕𝗫𝗄𝗏. I won't lose. While casually making it through the obstacle, I hear sounds of explosions above me. I look up to see 𝗕𝗂𝗂𝗏 flying over the whole course, ignoring everyone else. I look ahead and see Todoroki making it to the other side and is on his way to the last obstacle. Seems like 𝗕𝗂𝗂𝗏 is only focused on the first place, and whoever is in his way. I wouldn't want to be in Todoroki's shoes. I make it to the final barrier to see a minefield in front of me. The mines are probably not lethal but are enough to considerably set someone back. While normally walking on the minefield and memorizing every mine around my path, I realize that the only ones that are ahead of me are Todoroki and 𝗕𝗂𝗏 fighting each other for first place. And since they're both holding each other down, I can very much catch up to them. I somehow forgot that literally everyone else is struggling with this first event, and I was going through each one with no problems. This somehow resulted in me being in third place, for now at least. Maybe I subconsciously realized that trying to hold back here would be too much of a bother. It's probably best to slow myself down until I'm right in front of fourth place so I won't stand out. Several minutes later, and hearing multiple mines blowing up behind me, one explosion was particularly bigger and louder than the rest, to the point that a strong gust of wind can be felt in the entire field. It's almost like someone set off multiple mines at once. Everyone turns to see a foreign object flying off from the giant pink cloud, and it's Midoriya. Midoriya somehow launched himself over everyone on the minefield while holding onto a metal plank from one of the foe villains, even over Todoroki and 𝗕𝗂𝗏, who were the furthest away from the blast. I thought about what's going to happen next, and decided this might be the right time to be the obstacle that Mr. Nizu wants me to be. 𝗕𝗂𝗏 and Todoroki stop focusing on each other and immediately chase after Midoriya. As soon as this three-person race starts, I stop walking and get into a standing start position. I push my legs off the ground and dash to where the three are in mere seconds in rapid speed. As soon as I show up right between 𝗕𝗂𝗏 and Todoroki, they both react to me in surprise from my sudden presence. 𝗕𝗂𝗏, what the? And Todoroki's eyes widen in shock. Throughout the event, I never paid attention to present mixed commentary, but this time it caught my attention. Present mic, what's this? If you blink, you miss it. In just a few seconds, Saiki from Class 1A immediately catches up with the three on the lead, leaving everyone else in the dust. Where did this blinding speed come from? As Todoroki, 𝗕𝗂𝗏 and I are neck and neck, we reach the point where Midoriya is about to fall. Midoriya unexpectedly stood on my shoulders and used the metal plate he was holding to activate a mine that was right in front of me, and uses it to push himself forward once more while disturbing the momentum of the rest of us. Seeing as I was right in front of the mine, I was pushed back by the full blast while 𝗕𝗂𝗏 and Todoroki felt the explosion through the side. I turn around and see everyone else was still far away, so I couldn't set myself back too much so everyone can catch up. It would also look abnormal if I was still able to overtake 𝗕𝗂𝗏 and Todoroki after taking an entire mine to the face, so I settled for being fourth place. I made it back to the stadium to see the three ahead of me in exhaustion. Oh yeah, I have to be tired. I sit on the ground looking down while waiting for everyone else to arrive. I use the downtime to briefly talk to Mr. Nizu through telepathy. How was my first attempt at being an obstacle? You executed it perfectly. Are you going to stop here? Not really. I would rather see this through. I'm proud of your answer. I feel a tapping on my shoulder and I look up to see a fatigued Ojiro. Ojiro, you did amazing, Saiki. Thanks. I'm tired beyond belief though. Wano, I believe you. After everyone have arrived, we gather at the center of the stadium to hear the results. First game results: first place, Class A, Izuku Midoriya; second place, Class A, Shoto Todoroki; third place, Class A, Katsuki Bakugo; fourth place, Class A, Kusuo Saiki; fifth place, Class B, 𝗕𝗫𝗄 Shiozaki, etc. Midnight, the top 42 will advance to our second game. For those who didn't make it, there will always be other times for you to shine. The real battle awaits you. The second game is a cavalry battle, but every team is worth different points depending on the cumulative points the team members have from the first game. Plus, and since I'm in fourth place, I have 195 points. The only placement that didn't follow this pattern is first place with a baffling 10 million points, making Midoriya the clear target, as defeating Midoriya's team gives you an instant first place placement. I'm curious to see how he deals with it. POV, Saiki Kusuo. Midnight. You have 15 minutes to build your team. Start. I didn't focus that much on the rules since it was easy to understand, and now we're given time to form teams. I curiously looked to Midoriya, who was in deep thought. Knowing him, he might already have some people in mind. I continue to look around to see what second and third place are doing. Bakugo is surrounded by our classmates but isn't that reactive. Bakugo is very self-centered, so there's a chance he doesn't even know his classmates' quirks. Meanwhile, looks like Todoroki has already made his team. That's a recommendation student for you. Midoriya finally gets out of his thought process only to realize that he was left alone. Makes sense that no one was willing to be a target with him. Midoriya looks around desperately to see me also standing alone. I am in a weird position that my placement is just outside the flashy top 3, and my quirk, which I choose to show, isn't as flamboyant as the 3 either. I also don't go out of my way to be social. So I'm kind of proud to say I'm just outside of the spotlight. I watch Midoriya stagger to me in nervousness. Midoriya? Saiki S. What is it, Midoriya? I know why he's approaching me, but I ask anyway out of formality. C. Can you team up with me? S. I don't think I should. Midoriya was caught off guard from my wording, so I continued to give clarity. S. It would be unnatural for first and fourth place to be in the same team, even more so with your 10 million points. If we were on the same team, it's like the points for fourth place don't even exist. I guess you're right. S. Just to clarify, if I wasn't fourth place, I would have helped you. It's not like everyone would ignore you. Really? Uraraka, Deku-kun. We turn to see Uraraka approaching us. Let's be a team. Uraraka-san. Uraraka was surprised of Midoriya's exaggerated relief. Yuga. Isn't Saiki-kun also teaming up with you? S. Sorry, but I have to refuse. It's not a good idea for first and fourth place to be in the same team. I see. S. If you'll excuse me. I walk away to leave Midoriya with his own devices so I can also work on making my own team. And I only need one person. I approach the student with messy, indigo-colored hair that flares out in large tufts around his head and purple eyes. Class 1C, Shinso Hitoshi. Shinso notices me walking to him and asks me a verbal question in a casual and confident tone. Shinso, you want to team up with me? S. Nice try, but I'm a mute telepath. Shinso's smile fades when he realizes that he's faced with someone that is technically immune to his quirk. Brainwashing. A quirk where he can brainwash someone as long as his target verbally responds to something he says. Meaning I can easily avoid it by communicating directly to his mind from mine through telepathy. He also began to be cautious. I'm surprised you know. S. I saw you use it on 3 people when the first game started. It can be figured out from there. It's suspicious that someone from Class A cares about me. S. Maybe I was the only one that took your declaration to challenge my class seriously. So, that should tell you that I don't want to willingly work with someone from Class A. Yes, even if it guarantees you a ticket to the next game. Shinso was slightly surprised from my sudden statement. You sound confident, S. Because I am. And that means you're going to be responsible if we don't win. Yes. Shinso just stares at me for a few seconds and sighs. Fine, I'm at least half satisfied since you're 4th place. Do you mind if I use my quirk on others to make our team? Unless you can bring them yourself. I don't mind. That's your strategy after all. While we were talking, I noticed 𝗎𝗪𝗀 approaching us. Oh hey. Saiki, I quickly walked to him and put my hand on his shoulder. Oh Saiki. Don't join my team. Oh. What are you? I look him straight in the eyes in seriousness. Please. 𝗎𝗪𝗀 was shocked from my insistence. Alright then. And 𝗎𝗪𝗀 hesitantly walked away in confusion. I can tell that Shinso is smirking behind me. What happened to not minding? I would be guilty of 𝗎𝗪𝗀 was one of them. 1 shilling. How thoughtful. After the display of sarcasm, Shinso walked away and came back with someone from Class 1B and one of my classmates, Aoyama Yuga, under the effect of his quirk. Shinso noticed that I was staring at Aoyama. What's wrong? Are you going to feel guilty about him too? Not really. I decided not to do anything involving Aoyama yet at least. Mind reading is a burdensome quirk. Actually, how did you even get 4th place when you just have telepathy? He probably wasn't there when I was racing the top 3. I gripped my hand to a fist and punched the ground in front of him, creating a crater from the impact. Does that explain it? Shinso froze for a moment, then grins at me in a mix of fear and joy. It does. I'm actually thankful that we're not against each other now. That means that you're going to be the right, 4th place. Yes. I guess I have to look forward to competing with you. My name's Shinso Hitoshi. Shinso lends out a hand and I return the handshake. Saiki Kusuo. How I see it, this is another way for me to be the obstacle that Mr. Nizu wants me to be. My group point total up to 325 points. After the 15 minutes are up, Present Mike begins hyping up the game. Alright. Ready or not, the time will count down. 3, 2, 1. Midnight. Begin. Almost every team predictably charged at Midoriya's team. Shinso was about to do the same but, wait. Doing the same thing as everyone else would be a waste of energy. So you want us to let the others get to them first? I want you to watch. What? We both look at Midoriya's team. I see Midoriya pressing a button and his team flew away on a jetpack that he was wearing. A jetpack. I expected an escape method from Midoriya, but I didn't expect the contribution of the support student to be majorly involved like that. I doubt we can reach him up there. No kidding. Even if you jumped, getting back down is the hard part. While we were casually watching from afar, we see a team of 3 people with no rider running to us. Thought we wouldn't have to fight this early. Where's the person on top of them? Seeing as it's from my class, the rider is likely Invisible Girl, 𝗕𝗁𝗄𝑟-san. Since we can't see their headband, looks like they're desperately going on the offensive because they don't have any points. Are you going to be fine, 4th place? Very. As we're face to face with 𝗕𝗁𝗄𝑟's team, I hear 𝗕𝗁𝗄𝑟's attempt of intimidating me. Sorry Saiki-kun, but it's going to be difficult defending yourself against someone you can't see. Not exactly, I can very much see her skeleton with my X-ray, but it would be odd if I can accurately defend myself against her, so I thought of an alternative. I let 𝗕𝗁𝗄𝑟 grab onto my headband. As soon as I see the headband crease from her hold, I grab onto her arm and stop her so it looks like I'm relying on my reflexes. Darn Jiro-chan. Jiro, got it. As expected, Jiro extends her earphone jacks to disrupt me, so I use my other hand to grab both of her earphone jacks. What? This, Shinso. Now's a good time to get away. How enthusiastic. I push 𝗕𝗁𝗄𝑟's arm away to throw off her balance and throw Jiro's earphone jacks away. We immediately use it as an opportunity to retreat. While running, Shinso starts talking to me. I'm not on board with us just being on the defensive, we'll immediately get left behind. I didn't think that far in my game plan, but then I saw Midoriya being surrounded again by 2 teams, one from Class B and one from Class A. I just got an idea. 𝗕𝗁𝐻, which is POV. Midoriya Izuku. I'm already under a lot of pressure for being the primary target for this game, but I suddenly feel a different and unrelated kind of pressure, like I'm a focus of a narrative. It's hard to explain why I worded it like that. Wait, I don't have time to think about it. Even though we barely escaped the first wave of teams with Hatsum-san's jetpack, they're still determined to take my headband. Especially right now, we're being sandwiched by two teams. Shoji, Mineta and Tsuyu-san's team is relentlessly trying to hold my team down with the latter two's quirks. The other team, made up of students from Class B, is charging to us. We can't get OU Shiozaki, Tetsu-Tetsukuin. Watch out. Someone from Class B's team yelled to his teammate. I turned to see the team that was running to us was attacked by Saiki. The rider barely manages to evade Seiki's attack and focused on him instead. Tokoyami, Midoriya, now's our chance. Midoriya, yes. I click the button again to turn on the jetpack to make our escape. I don't know if Saiki intended to help me, but regardless. Thank you, Saiki. POV, Saiki Kusuo Tetsu turns to us and gives me an angry and threatening glare. Tetsu, why the hell are you in the way? Tetsu recognizes me and continues exerting his frustration. Of course it's a Class 1A BS dirty. The hell are you doing protecting 10 million points? Tetsu looks down and also remembered Shinso when he visited my class. Thought you hated Class 𝗕𝗁𝐻. I have my reasons. Whatever. Tetsu punches his palm, making a spark. Now you're my new target. Are you going to be fine, 4th place? I'll be fine. Tetsu's team starts their offense. Did he bring it? Tetsu extends his arm to grab my headband, but I brush his arm aside and extend my own arm. He raises his other arm to block, but I turn my hand to a fist and land a punch. I hear Tetsu groan a little from my sudden attack. I immediately continue by punching his other arm with my other fist. This leads to me to relentlessly land a flurry of blows on his metal arms. Tetsu, unable to find an opening to fight back, is stuck defending himself. Suddenly, one of my arms were restrained by vines, stopping my attack. I looked to the source and it was his classmate, Ibara Shiozaki. Her vines were about to grasp my other arm, and Shinso was about to open his mouth to use his quirk, but stop. The vines stop halfway reaching my other arm. Ibara, Tetsukuin. Don't butt in, Shiozaki-san. But Tetsu, if I can't beat a Class A BSTRD right here myself, I'll never be able to catch up to them. Shiozaki hesitates before letting my arm go. I can respect his spirit and pride, but I'm not a suitable standard for a Class 1A student. Tetsu glares at me and continues our battle. Tetsu extends his arm again, but this time, I lock palms with him. Tetsu grinned at first, thinking he would overpower me with his strength, only for him not being able to move his hand. I reach for his headband with my other hand, and as Tetsu raises his other arm to block, I turn my hand to a fist again and punch down his arm. Present Mike, what's this? 4th place finisher, Saiki Kusuo, is in an intense battle with Tetsu's steel. Despite Tetsu's steel body, Saiki is not pulling his punches. What an unrelenting offense. Many hits later, Tetsu finally lets down his arm in pain as the steel on his defending arm starts to crack. I take this opportunity to take his headband. Shinso. I got it. Nice job, 4th place. And we immediately move away from Tetsu's team while Tetsu is still recovering. Shinso asks me a question while I was wearing the 3rd headband. Oi, are your hands okay, 4th place? You were punching steel the entire time. I look to my lightly bruised knuckles. It would be unnatural if my hands were completely fine from that exchange. I can keep going. I'll take your word for it. Not many can say that after fighting that guy. During our brief downtime, we hear an echoey triumphant and high-pitched laugh. I turn to see my classmate, Mizo Shoji, sprinting towards us while his back is covered by his tentacle arms. I don't think Shoji sounds like that. Shoji opens his arms to show Mineta throwing his quirk at us to slow us down. Mineta, you're going to be my first victim, Saiki. What's your call, 4th place? Why aren't you saying my name? Even if you're giving me a ticket to the next game, I prefer not being too close to a Class 1A student. Good to know. We're facing them head-on, Shinso. Now we're talking. We also run to Shoji while I dodge all the ball-shaped objects. As soon as we're in range, my 𝗕𝗂 hides behind Shoji's tentacle arm. Protect me. That's not going to be enough. I punch Shoji's tentacle arm and his arm immediately opens from the force. Shoji 𝗕𝗁-san. 𝗎𝗪𝗢 shows up and tries to take my headband with her tongue, but I manage to grab her tongue in time. 𝗕𝗁𝗢𝗫𝗀. Sorry, 𝗎𝗪𝗢-san. With no one to protect him, I easily take my 𝗕𝗂's headband. Got it. Alright. And we ran away from my 𝗕𝗂's team. We've been on a winning streak. It does make us a bigger target. It's fine, you have your classmate that has those 10 million points. Even if we are, I can count on you, 4th place. Looks like we somehow have a moment of camaraderie even if he dislikes my class. Present Mike, let's look at the current team rankings. Team ranking first, Team Midoriya, 10000310 points second. Team Saiki, 1415 points third. Team Inoma, 1340 points fourth. Team Kendo, 665 points fifth. Team Todoroki, 600 points sixth. Team Tetsutetsu, 420 points seventh. Team Rin, 195 points eighth. Team Bakugo, 0 points. The crowd cheers almost disappear. What? Hold on. Second place Todoroki and third place Bakugo aren't doing so hot, and an unexpected comeback from fourth place Saiki. And Bakugo, 0 points. Shinso and I look at the rankings in shock. Wow, didn't expect us to be in second place already. I got carried away. Fighting and beating the teams in front of me that I got second place. I look around to see Bakugo's team confronting a team from Class B, and Todoroki's team toe-to-toe with Midoriya's team. What's our next move, fourth place? After thinking it over, I made my decision. Shinso. What is it? We'll keep going. You don't mean we're getting those 10 million points. POV, Saiki Kusuo won we're getting those 10 million points. Even if I say that with some conviction, I'm not the only person with that idea at this point. Todoroki's been aiming for it at the start, and Bakugo's probably thinking the same after fending off the teams from Class B. Once again, multiple teams are rushing towards Todoroki and Midoriya's team. Are we going to join in? One who follows the crowd falls with the crowd. Especially against someone as cautious and far-sighted as Todoroki. Right after saying that, Todoroki and Kaminari stops all the teams behind them with their electric and ice quirks, and Todoroki takes their headbands. It would be bad if we were a part of that. As much as I'm not fond of knowing how you think, it's been helpful. Anyway, I think now it's a good time dash. Saiki. I hear a familiar high-pitched voice. I turn to see Shoji running towards us again and my 𝗕𝗂 yelling, "My 𝗕𝗂, this is revenge." Full attack mode. Shoji opens his arms wide to show 6 arms determined to take my headband. Fourth place, I've seen what you're capable of, but can you even deal with that? I have to try. Is running not an option. We won't get those 10 million points if my 𝗕𝗂's team is in the way. Guess I have no choice but to trust you. Shoji makes it in front of us and does a right swipe towards me. I pull my body back to dodge it and land a left kick to Shoji's right arm, causing him to stagger back. Shoji's next act is him extending his left arm to me, so I can't pull my body backwards because of his long reach. So instead, I duck forward and land an uppercut on Shoji's left arm. A few minutes later, Shoji ran out of gas from confronting me and we managed to get away. I glanced to the board to see the current rankings. Team ranking first, Team Todoroki, 10001160 points second. Team Saiki, 1415 points third. Team Bakugo, 1340 points fourth. Team Kendo, 600 points fifth. Team Tetsutetsu, 420 points sixth. Team Rin, 105 points seventh. Team Midoriya, 0 points. Looks like Bakugo got his points back from Team Monoman. Todoroki snatched Midoriya's 10 million. It would be a shame if Midoriya got eliminated at this stage, but I'm not obligated to help him. Knowing how straight-laced he is, he wouldn't like it if I did anyway. While making our way to where Todoroki and Midoriya are, we notice another team running towards the same direction in near vicinity. Kaminari? Oh, it's Seiki's team. Shinso and I make eye contact with Bakugo's team. Shinso talks to me with his mind while showing a straight face to hide our communication. What are we going to do with Bakugo's team? I prefer not having to go against 3 quirks by myself. Too bad you're not fond of me using my quirk on your classmates. It's part of our deal. I know, but that means I'm counting on you if they attack us. During our conversation, Bakugo and I look at each other. Bakugo's eyes are different from the usual hostile death stare, like he wants to wipe me from the face of the earth. His eyes are now more determined and focused, and only sees me as an obstacle. Gives me a sense of relief that he won't just jump at us like a wild animal. Kirishima, say Bakugo, wouldn't it be easier if we take on Seiki's team? That would guarantee us second place and be qualified. Bakugo, hell no. The tense situation was immediately ruined by Bakugo's yelling. Bakugo, I ain't settling being second place under that half and half BSTRD. We'll be first place if we get those 10 million points. After being pressured by Bakugo, his team stopped focusing on us and ran ahead. Before running ahead of us, Bakugo's face turned grim and sour, a face the opposite of how he looked at me before. There's something Bakugo is hiding. As Bakugo's team's right in front of the ice wall Todoroki to stop anyone from interfering his battle with Midoriya, Bakugo relentlessly blows the wall up and flies towards the confrontation between the Todoroki and Midoriya. We're not going to make it. Shinso noticed that I was bending my knees. Thank you for your cooperation, Shinso. What does that mean? I jump off my team and run on the ice wall surrounding the 3 teams. I dig my soul into the ice and jump off to reach the 3 about to clash. But as soon as all hell's about to break loose, present mic, time's up. The game had ended and both Bakugo and I fall to the ground. Alright. Here are the top 4 teams. First place. Team Todoroki. Yaoyorozu, the win was too close for comfort. If the game ended seconds later, the winner could have been any one of the 4 teams. Second place. Team Saiki. Shinso walks to me alone. Looks like he disabled his quirk as the game ended. Look at that, you kept your word. It's not first place though. Are you dissatisfied with that? Shinso showed an uncommon grin. Not really, I was originally planning on using my quirk on one of the top teams and steal their spot. Third place. Team Bakugo. Ashido, we were so close. Zero, at least we made in third place. As long as we're qualified. Kirishima looks at Bakugo sitting on the ground. Kirishima, well, he wouldn't feel the same way. Bakugo, fourth place. Team Midoriya. I turned to Midoriya's team in surprise, because his team had 0 points the last time I checked. Aside from a crying relieved Midoriya, I noticed that Tokoyami was holding a few headbands. He really came in clutch for them. I was planning to just immediately meet with Kokomi during our lunch break, but Midnight noticed my bruised knuckles from my battle with Tetsu, so I had to take a very short trip to the medical room. I was walking to the faculty and student entrance to leave the stadium since it was the nearest exit, and I see Bakugo leaning onto the wall next to the hallway of the entrance. Bakugo's eyes widen in slight surprise like he didn't expect my presence. When I got nearer to the hallway, he glared at me but stayed silent, signaling me to go away. I was confused because he's not the type of person that would keep a silent streak. As soon as I was about to look left, Todoroki, Midoriya, you All Might's secret love child. What? I instinctively stop and lean onto the wall like Bakugo. I use my clairvoyance to see a conversation between Todoroki and Midoriya. Bakugo and I eavesdrop on them for a few minutes, listening to Todoroki's life story and goal for the sports festival. I can empathize with his reasoning for only using his ice quirk, but I've told him before, You're not going to get that far if you continue hiding that fire power of yours. There's a reason why you're born with both. And if I can't show him that, I hope the person in front of him right now can do a better job showing my sentiment than I could. We both hear footsteps and we look to see Midoriya and Todoroki walking away. Seeing that it's not a good idea to follow their path, I walk away from Bakugo's direction to find another exit until, Bakugo, hey, green glasses. So that's what he settles on naming me. I look around just in case if he's calling someone else and I turn to him. B, there's something I hate about. What a nice way to start a conversation. S, which is. B, you remind me too much of half and half, and that me off, at least he dropped the B. B, but he has his own reasons, I have no idea what your deal is, B, and that me off even more. I can't do much on that front since I'm not planning to tell anyone about my secrets anytime soon. S, do you even want to know? B, hell no. Aside from Deku, you and half are in my way on being the #1 hero. So not knowing makes it easier for me to kick your butt. S, let's do our best then. I brush off the threat and leave the stadium. I'm not particularly excited of being on Bakugo's hit list. The last game for the sports festival is a one-on-one tournament. One of the students from my team, a Class B student, withdrew from the tournament because he didn't feel like he even participated in the cavalry game. I glanced at Shinso and he merely smirked. In the end, he was replaced by Tetsu, who was the hardest working player in the 5th place team. After being chosen, Tetsu points at me angrily. Tetsu, I'm going to get revenge, you Class A bastard. Kirishima, what's his deal? S, we didn't get along during the cavalry game. Midnight, here are the brackets for our tournament. I glanced at my bracket and, my bracket Saiki vs Kaminari Ida vs Hatsum Shinso vs Midoriya Todoroki vs Zero. Good grief. I finally have the leisure to say that from the annoying matchups that I might have to go through. I make a rule for myself to never overshadow someone else's primary quirk, meaning that I can't be as fast as Ida, and I can't be as strong as Midoriya. And of course there's the chance that I have to fight Todoroki again. Kaminari slaps my back. Kaminari, I won't hold back, Saiki. S, good to know. After that brief exchange, I noticed that Shinso is approaching Midoriya and immediately speedwalked towards them. Let's try our best in the first match. Midoriya. I covered his mouth before he finished replying and he flinched in surprise. Saiki. Shinso smiles at me. Thought our deal was over. S, use your quirk during the tournament like everyone else. How noble. Shinso replies to me in sarcasm once again and walks away. I let go of Midoriya and he asks immediately, what's wrong, Saiki? S, it's not a good idea to answer him. Midoriya looks at me in confusion. We both walk to the break room and sat down so I can tell him about Shinso's quirk. Hey Saiki, S, I saw you walk to the medical room after the cavalry game, was it serious? S, not really, my knuckles were just bruised. Midoriya's eyes sparkle from his obsession with quirks. S, Tetsu. M, from Class B. With the steel quirk. Midoriya immediately looks down and starts thinking about Tetsu's quirk and my physical strength while muttering it under his breath. Does this mean that Seiki's strength can break steel, or is the toughness of Tetsu's quirk isn't purely steel? Saiki did overpower a faux villain once. No, Tetsu can break through a faux villain metal body too. S, Midoriya. I snap him out of his long train of thought. S, I think what I'm going to tell you is more important. Oh sorry. So what was that about? S, Shinso's quirk can brainwash someone to obey whatever he says. Brainwash. Midoriya froze from the terrifying quirk and realized something. Wait, wasn't he on your team, Saiki? Does that mean S? No, I wasn't controlled by his quirk. S, he can only activate his quirk when his target verbally responds to something he says. So technically, I'm immune to his quirk since I'm mute. I see. I watch Midoriya continue his deep thinking. I put my hand on his shoulder. S, as long as you're cautious, you can win. I was about to stand up from my seat to leave, but Midoriya stopped me. Saiki, thank you for telling me. No problem, it would be a shame if you just lose from Shinso's quirk. Actually, I was surprised that you're doing so well in the sports festival. You're not usually that ambitious. I'm not saying that you don't deserve to make it this far. I get it. That just means that someone would overtake me if they're trying their heart out. Midoriya flinched from me indirectly calling him out. Meanwhile, I'm impressed that you also made it this far. I saw that you only used your quirk once. We both have things to work on, and I know you're aware of this, but, if you can't figure out your quirk soon, you're not going to beat Todoroki. Midoriya stayed silent from my advice. But in the end, we're both doing this so we can be pro-heroes that protect people. Isn't that right, Midoriya? Midoriya's face brightens as I put away my competitiveness and reminding him of our first interaction back in junior high. Right? Let's try our best in the tournament, Saiki. Same to you. As I leave the break room, I was hit with a wave of fatigue thinking about the future matches that I have to deal with, but I also feel a tinge of excitement and adrenaline as I think, how strong are my classmates? And who am I willing to lose to? POV, Saiki Kusuo. I watched Midoriya's match with Shinso. Somehow, Shinso managed to activate his quirk on Midoriya. Out of curiosity, I read Midoriya's mind to see what it looks like being affected by Shinso's quirk, but I couldn't hear anything. The quirk probably stops the target's will to think. At first, I doubted that Midoriya can snap himself out, but I suddenly hear 8 incomprehensible voices flood into Midoriya's head and I saw Midoriya's hand move by itself. I was so surprised that I didn't dwell on what those voices were saying. What was that? Did that have something to do with Midoriya's quirk? After that, Midoriya recovered from Shinso's quirk and was able to win the match. My face of slight shock went unnoticed as everyone else was also watching the battle with undivided attention. Once the first match was over, Kaminari and I leave the spectator zone for our class to prepare for ours. Not that I need to, but I might as well go with the flow. In the waiting room, I watched the second match, which is Todoroki against 𝗔𝗫 through the TV available, and that match can simply be described in one sentence. 𝗔𝗫 tried to restrain Todoroki and bring him outside of bounds, but Todoroki's ice mercilessly freezes 𝗔𝗫, forcing him to resign. His ice attack was strong to the point that it momentarily shook the stadium and the ice even spread through the height of the stadium itself. That attack wasn't rational, even he knows that attack was overkill for someone like 𝗔𝗫. Something must have happened. With his emotions and his refusal to use his fire quirk, I doubt I will let him beat me. The tournament was delayed because of Todoroki's ice, and the next match is between Kaminari and 𝗕𝗫𝗁𝗍. Although he is just a telepath, his physical capabilities are no joke. Hero Course Class A, Saiki Kusuo. 𝗕𝗁𝗍𝗁𝗍 versus Sparking Killing Boy, Hero Course Class Kaminari Denki. Kaminari, hey Saiki. HMK. I'm not going to hold back. Let's try our best. Sadly, I can't say the same to him. Sorry, this'll be over in an instant. Electricity started brightly sparking around Kaminari. Indiscriminate shock 1. 3 million volts. Realistically, I shouldn't dodge electricity. And I'm supposed to be immune to it since I have electrokinesis. I can only find one way to convincingly win this. I decided to withstand the attack head-on. Saiki is hit with a powerful attack from Kaminari. Wait, isn't 1. 3 million volts lethal? Is he going to make out of this alive? Midnight, the referee of the tournament was about to raise the flag to end the match, but I immediately run to Kaminari and tackle him with my shoulder. What the dash? The momentum of my offense pushed Kaminari out of bounds. The crowd went silent for a split second into a quaking roar. Amazing. Saiki manages to endure Kaminari's powerful attack and unleashes a swift counter. This battle was not decided in an instant, ladies and gentlemen. Midnight was still surprised by my performance in this match and struggled to announce the victor. Midnight, Saiki will advance to the next round. As soon as it was over, I fall to the ground and was rushed to the nurse's office. POV. Midoriya Izuku. I was planning to write down any information I can gather about the matches I get to watch, but I couldn't even move my pen from the match between Kaminari and Saiki. I was frozen in worry when I saw Saiki taking 1. 3 million volts of electricity, and I was frozen in shock when I saw Saiki being able to move and fight back. Looks like 𝗕𝗁𝐺𝑖's limit of electricity he can exert is 3 million volts and is vulnerable to attacks after, and Seiki's supposed limit of enduring electricity is also 3 million volts. Wait, something's not right. If that was his limit, he wouldn't even be able to move immediately, especially when the electricity hits his muscles and brain. So Saiki can even withstand more voltage than that. I've always known that Saiki is physically capable ever since he protected me against a faux villain back at the entrance exam, and his rankings in the first 2 games just solidify my hypothesis, but his new display of endurance is beyond what I imagined. I never realized Saiki was this strong. Well, he rarely talks about himself or even talk at all. POV. Saiki Kusuo, I recovered immediately due to my stamina and recovery girl's quirk, but it would be weird for me to be back to normal after supposedly being struck with 1 million volts of electricity. So I decided to take it easy in the waiting room. The door opens to show 𝗕𝗏𝗏 with a very unapproaching aura and sat right in front of me. She's probably too occupied to even notice that I've been here the whole time. Ida also enters the waiting room and was greeted by a tense 𝗕𝗏𝗏. 2. Oh Saiki, you're here too. You. Sigh. 𝗕𝗏𝗏 follows Ida's gaze to see me sitting right in front of her. You? Saiki. Didn't see you there. I just got here. That was a lie. 2. Are you okay, Saiki? 𝗕𝗁𝐺𝗁𝐺's attack looked like it really hurt. It did. But I had to pull through if I wanted to win. At least 𝗕𝗁𝐺𝗁𝐺 can only go all out once. I imagine having to go against Bakugo must be more of a struggle. I managed to deflect the conversation to 𝗕𝗏𝗏. 𝗕𝗏𝗏 and Ida start talking while I silently listen. 𝗕𝗏𝗏. We turn to see Midoriya joining us in the waiting room. Midoriya looked around and his eyes locked onto me. Saiki. Midoriya ran to me in concern. Saiki. Are you okay? I'm perfectly fine. But Kais, seriously, I'm fine. Don't forget why you came here. Midoriya looked to 𝗕𝗏𝗏 and stopped focusing on me. Right, sorry. I'm still relieved that you managed to recover. Midoriya was looking for 𝗕𝗏𝗏 to offer her some help against her match about Bakugo, but 𝗕𝗏𝗏 refused so she can fight for herself. It's the second time I'm impressed with 𝗕𝗏𝗏's values. A few minutes later, we watched the match between Bakugo and 𝗕𝗏𝗏. Midoriya sees it too, that 𝗕𝗏𝗏's way of winning is fairly simple, which is to just use her quirk against Bakugo, but that required touching him, and Bakugo was aware of that. 𝗕𝗏𝗏 had a creative plan against Bakugo, using rubble to interrupt and distract him, but Bakugo's reflexes and power managed to literally explode through 𝗕𝗏𝗏's efforts. After that match, the first bracket ends and we reach the quarterfinals. Midoriya stood up to prepare for his battle against Todoroki. Midoriya. Midoriya was surprised that I called his name. I exclusively talked to him through telepathy so no one could hear me. What is it, Saiki? Todoroki is no joke, but both of you have problems with your quirks, so I'd think that the one that would overcome it would win. Good luck out there. Yeah, thanks. Midoriya walked away while thinking about what I said to him. 2. What did you say to him, Saiki? Just a simple good luck. After a short break, Midoriya and Todoroki's match began. And it really was a sight to behold. Midoriya's weakness, his inability to control the power of his quirk, causes him to sustain serious recoil every time he uses his powerful quirk. Todoroki, although he is way more efficient with his ice quirk, he still refuses to use his fire quirk. This makes him overuse it, and his body temperature that gets lower and lower, his physical limit stops him from going any further. So on paper, they're supposed to be on a stalemate, which seemed to be the case the more time passes. Todoroki's ice attacks started becoming slower and smaller, and Midoriya's powerful quirk started becoming weaker. It almost became a battle of attrition on who can run out of offensive power first. Until a giant flame erupted in the middle of the stadium. Todoroki finally unleashed his fire quirk. They clashed one more time, but Midnight and Cemento stopped them because Midoriya wasn't aware that continuing to fight would have killed him. In the end, Todoroki won. Ida and I stood up, both of us silently realizing that we're against each other. We both part ways when Ida and a few others rush to the nurse's office to see Midoriya. I was also invited, but I said that I wanted to prepare myself. I didn't want to interrupt Midoriya in the state he's in. After the stadium is fixed, Ida and I face each other again in our match. And the only words exchanged before it starts are, 2. May the best man win, Saiki. Ida knows that I'm a man of few words. POV. Ida Tenya. From what I've gathered, Saiki has noticeable physical strength and impressive physical endurance, so if I use my reciprocal burst to make my kick stronger, there's a chance that he can withstand it. I'm also in a disadvantage if I face him in close quarters combat. So the one attribute I have over him is speed. PM. Both from the hero course, Ida Tenya and Saiki Kusuo. Start. I immediately use reciprocal burst and run to him. As soon as I run past him, I tightly grab onto the back of Seiki's uniform and drag him so I can pull him out of bounds. That's not enough. Saiki turns his body towards me and grabs onto my arm. Saiki delivers a kick to my back and tries to push me out of bounds with my own speed, but I manage to turn away. We both look at each other, and this is the first time I've seen Saiki with sharp and focused eyes. I still have 8 seconds of reciprocal burst, but now Saiki is fully on guard and won't let me do the same thing again. There's only one place I can think of to strike him with my reciprocal burst. I run to him again, stop in front of him, and kick his legs off balance with a reciprocal burst-powered kick. As Saiki falls and shows his back to me, I grab his uniform again and try to drag him out of bounds, while I still have 6 seconds of reciprocal burst left. But I suddenly fall to the ground. I look back and I see Saiki holding onto my ankle. He managed to grab onto my ankle while I was running, even when I'm using reciprocal burst. I wanted to use reciprocal burst again to force my ankle free, but Saiki throws my entire body away from him just by using my ankle as leverage. His strength is the real deal. As I try to regain my footing by standing up, Saiki has already caught up to me and lands a clean punch onto my abdomen, and I was pushed out of bounds. POV. Saiki Kusuo. I shake my hand to shrug off the pain from punching Ida's abdomen. Midnight, Ida is pushed out of bounds. Saiki wins. PM. An intense battle between speed and brawn. But Seiki's strength manages to overpower Ida's engine. I feel a familiar stare looking down on me. I look around to see Todoroki leaning against the wall of the upper part of the stadium. The same stare he gave me before our first battle back during hero training. Will he remain stubborn and refuse to use his fire quirk? Or do I have to force him into using it like Midoriya did? POV. Saiki Kusuo 1 present mic. This is the match between 2 sports festival all-stars. 4th place in the obstacle course and 2nd place in the cavalry battle, Saiki Kusuo. PM. 2nd place in the obstacle course and 1st place in the cavalry battle, Todoroki Shoto. Will Todoroki continue his reign of Dems? Or will Saiki surprise us with his performance like the last few matches and games? PM. Begin. Ice spreads from Todoroki's foot towards me and entraps me from the ground. Saiki has already been trapped. Is it already over? Far from it. I casually break free from the ice and Todoroki's eyes widen once again like the last time we fought. Pim, look at that. This is the first time we see someone breaking free of Todoroki's ice. We might have a different kind of match here, ladies and gentlemen. Todoroki immediately follows with more ice attacks to hold me down. I sidestep the first one and jump over the second one while closing the distance. I crouch in front of him and throw a punch, but he manages to dodge it. Todoroki changes tactics and tries to push me out of bounds instead with his ice. I manage to hold on to the ice and move my body back into the platform. We face each other again and Todoroki looks at me with an angry glare. I don't blame him. I've been hiding my cryokinesis until now and he's facing someone that can easily deal with his quirk. 1 or 2 minutes later of me dodging and breaking through Todoroki's attacks, Todoroki is already reaching his physical limit like his match with Midoriya. His arm is twitching and covered in frost, and cold mist breathes out of Todoroki's mouth. But the difference is, I'm no near as injured as Midoriya was. Todoroki glares at me again with slight fatigue. There's a reason you were born with both. Your ice quirk isn't enough. I can tell Todoroki gritted his teeth in frustration and continues to attack me with ice, but his attacks were small. I slowly walked to him and punched through every ice attack he threw at me. This is a sight to behold. Todoroki is cornered by Saiki's brute strength. I grab Todoroki's collar and push him to the ice wall he created behind him. The more he tries to freeze my arm, the more I press his body through the wall and push him out of bounds. Lose to your stubbornness or win properly. As Todoroki's body breaks through the ice wall, I saw something different in his eyes. I saw a flame. I immediately stepped back and Todoroki's flames erupt from his body in a pillar of fire like his match with Midoriya. Todoroki, in it. Todoroki looks to me while the left side of his body is spewing flames to stabilize his body temperature. It's just like last time. But I won't let you win that easily. Todoroki unleashes a huge blast of fire that he was holding in that reached the farthest side of the stadium. I dodge it and Todoroki and I fight once more. I did a good job dodging and parrying Todoroki's left arm that uses his fire quirk, but Todoroki manages to overpower me while using his full potential of fire and ice. Todoroki puts an ice wall between us and I instinctively break it so I can close the distance, but I was greeted with a point-blank fire attack and I fall to the ground. As soon as I fall, Midnight hurriedly ends the match. Midnight, it's over. Todoroki wins. Todoroki will advance to the finals after a hard-fought battle. The stadium trembles by the audience's cheers from the back-and-forth battle for the finals, and I was urgently brought to the nurse's office. I rested through Bakugo versus Tokoyami and I make it right when the finals start. Saiki. Most of the class turns to me. Uraraka, you did amazing out there. Thank you. Tokoyami, I'm surprised you'd already recovered since you were against Todoroki's fire. Most of the fire was on my clothes, but the heat overwhelmed me from being close to it for too long. I sit next to Midoriya and he gives me a big smile. Midoriya, great job. Thanks also you look more worse for wear than I am. Midoriya flinches and scratches the back of his head. It's like what you said, Saiki, I lost because I still can't control my quirk. Well, your quirk looked very strong so I can believe that controlling that much power isn't easy. I turn to him. But I believe that you can use it to its fullest potential. Midoriya hesitated from my sudden compliment and replied. Thank you. I'll try my best. After that interaction, Todoroki and Bakugo's fight began. I was surprised at Bakugo's skills at balancing between his destructive quirk and strategy. I guess he stopped being the impulsive, violent and simple-minded Bakugo I used to know, even though it's still part of who he is. Todoroki did all he could with his ice quirk, but if he couldn't win against Midoriya, he can't win against Bakugo. Guess accepting yourself isn't that easy. In the end, Bakugo became the winner of this year's first-year UH Sports Festival. An hour later, the awards ceremony began. I stand next to Tokoyami on the podium for third place and the platform rises to the surface for dramatic effect. I look around at the cheering spectators of the stadium and realize, I hate it. I was too absorbed in the festival that I had high placements. There's also the fact that the person I was willing to lose to is right next to me as second place, leading me into part of the spotlight. I hope my classmates get stronger so they can take my place. Before the medals were given, Tokoyami was looking at Bakugo that was restrained and held down by chains and concrete because he was still upset that Todoroki didn't use his fire quick against him. Tokoyami, he's like a wild animal. Yup, still the same Bakugo I know. Tokoyami turns to me. Congratulations on third place. Same to you. The medals were given by the current #1 hero, symbol of peace, all might, making an entrance jumping from the top of the stadium. I was the first person to be given the medal. All Might, congratulations, young Saiki. Your performance was stunning. Thank you, All Might. But I must say your fighting style is similar to another young man I know. He won't say it, but my tactic of forcing myself to take hits was similar to Midoriya that was willing to sustain recoil from his powerful quirk. But I'm no Midoriya. So I hope you exercise caution and limits against opponents with quirks that your fists can't reach. I understand. After All Might congratulates 𝗕𝗁𝐵𝗍, All Might moves to Todoroki in second place. I assume there's a reason you didn't use your left side in the finals. I had to against my match with Midoriya, but I'm not entirely sure myself. I now understand why you're interested in him. Todoroki briefly glances at me and looks at his right hand. I also learned that only using my right side isn't enough. I want to be a hero like you, but now I know it'll be impossible if I continue holding myself back. There's still something that I must face before then. All Might nods and gives him a hug. The look on your face has changed. I won't ask for details. I wish you luck on your growth. Bakugo's portion took a while since he still refuses his win but got it anyway. Hours of school later, I walk alone in the hallway so I can go home early. The sports festival took a lot out of me. And of course I was met with Mr. Nizu. Nizu, congratulations, Kusuo. Thank you, Mr. Nizu. I walked past him but he still continued talking to me. Thank you for granting my request during the sports festival. Are you satisfied with who I lost to? For the most part, but there are still things to work on. No matter, your school life just started after all. Enjoy your vacation. I expect that there's going to be a big celebration awaiting you. You would know, since you are close to my parents. Unless you also want to be part of the celebration. I appreciate the indirect invitation, but the school staff has a lot to work on to clean up the sports festival. I see. Hey Kusuo. Looking forward to your cooperation for later inquiries. Nizu walks away. What does he mean by that? Is he going to continue asking me for favors? Plus I'll think about that when school starts again. I have a coffee jelly waiting for me at home. POV, Saiki Kusuo. Since school started again, I decided to have a change of pace. Instead of just teleporting near the school, I took the train and walked the entire journey from Tetsuin Station. I look at the news prompted on the screen of the train and it talks about the results of the sports festival with a picture of Bakugo and the names of first 3 placements, showing my name as well. I stay silent and pray that I won't get noticed. During the train ride, someone bumped into me and I see a familiar face with his phone. Midoriya looks at me and exclaims, Sorry, Saiki. I haven't seen you use the train in a while. Don't just say my na, Saiki. The 3rd place first year. It is him. From the hero course. You were really cool. You were so close to being in the finals. Is that Midoriya too? He was in the top 8. He was almost in the top 3 too. I give Midoriya an annoyed glare while surrounded by unnecessary compliments from strangers, and Midoriya gave me the most sincere, I'm so sorry, look he can give. We made it to the classroom and everyone was talking about how the sports festival has caused them to also be approached by strangers. Midoriya walks to me, who was still mildly annoyed from what happened an hour ago. Morning just started and I'm already tired. Tell me about it. At least we're not the only ones that went through it. Midoriya glanced at Ida silently on his seat. Ida's acting different from usual. It would be more worrisome if he acted like nothing ever happened. Before the finals, Ida told us that his brother was severely injured and hospitalized from a villain, so he had to leave early. It must have taken a toll on him since his brother was a pro hero that Ida admired. Aizawa-sensei enters the class and everyone immediately took their seat. Azui, it's good to see your bandages gone. Aizawa-sensei. Aizawa. Recover girl's treatment went overboard. Don't mind that. Today's a special hero informatics class. A portion froze in tension from the words informatics, worrying that it's an academic quiz. You all will be making your hero names. The class momentarily cheered from the theme but stopped abruptly from Aizawa's glare. Usually, the pro hero draft picks start on your 2nd and 3rd year, but getting picked during your 1st means that they see potential in you. And here are the total for those who received offers. Aizawa pressed a remote to show a bar graph. Class A no. Of offers: Todoroki, 4123 Bakugo, 3556 Saiki, 419 𝗕𝗁𝐵𝗍, 360 Ida, 301 Kaminari, 272 Yaoyorozu, 108 Kirishima, 68 Uraraka, 20 Siro, 14 AI. The offers used to be more spread out, but these two were in the spotlight this year. The reactions were mixed. Some were upset at the lack of offers, some were excited to even getting offers to begin with, and some were upset about not getting offers at all. A few things came to mind when I saw the amount of offers under my name. I'm not happy about being the third person with the most offers, but the number isn't as ridiculous as the first two. Todoroki having more offers than Bakugo makes more sense than on the surface. Bakugo didn't particularly took the win well during the sports festival. There's also the factor of Todoroki's father being a pro hero and his performance was just as good as Bakugo. Surprisingly or unsurprisingly, Midoriya didn't get any offers. Mostly because of the risk of his self-destructive quirk. AI, regardless of results, you will all be entering internships with pro heroes. Even if you all already experience combat with real villains, it will still be an important experience to observe how the pro heroes do their duties. On paper, your internship hero names are temporary, but if you're not serious about it, you'll regret it. Someone decided to finish Aizawa's statement and make an entrance. The guys in the class get excited when Midnight, our class hero, makes an appearance with a purposely stuck pose. Midnight, a lot of past students' hero names get recognized by society and end up becoming their professional hero names. AI, Midnight will be looking over the class and your hero names. I can't do stuff like that. AI, but remember, your hero name represents your self-image and your ambitions that you strive for. Names and nature do often agree after all. AI, one example being All Might. The class was given a small whiteboard and a marker to write their names. I emptily look at the whiteboard on my hands as I ponder, what should my hero name be? I realize that I never thought about my hero name before, mostly because I didn't want to be a hero to begin with. I didn't even think of a name for my other hero form with the cyborg suit. I haven't used that suit in a while too. Maybe I should just wait to see what the others' names are. A few names were announced, some are unconventional, some are personal, some reference other heroes, and some are just not good, which Midnight thankfully rejected, like Bakugo's King Explosion Murder. I would not want to be saved by a hero with that name. But most of them cleverly insert their quirks into their hero names. Before I knew it, Midnight's statement reached my ears. You all are naturals at choosing your hero names. The only ones left are Bakugo-kun, Ida-kun, Midoriya-kun, and Saiki-kun. Seeing as I was already one of the last people, I might as well get it out of the way. I silently stood up and walked to the front of the class and showed my name, Mindlink M. A fitting name for a telepath. A name that can lovingly last in my mind. I sat back down in relief after my hero name got accepted. Was it a creative name? But it works nonetheless. After the naming process, Aizawa wakes up and continues talking about the internship. AI, those who received offers will be given their own lists for them to choose. Those who didn't will choose among 40 hero agencies around the country, all with different specialites, so choose carefully. Turn in your choices before the weekend. I look at the list of hero agencies and blanked out again. I am quite grateful that pro heroes are interested in my potential, but I am very much spoiled for choice. Do I just choose the one closest to my house to make it easier, or do I choose the best one offered to me so I can get as much experience as I can? Wait, what does Mr. Nizu think about this? While skimming through the names, I saw something that caught my eye, but not in a good way. Mr. Nizu's Coffee Jelly House. I blink a few times to check if I saw it wrong, but I didn't. I immediately fold the papers so no one can see. Is Mr. Nizu just messing with me? Even though Mr. Nizu can just tell me telepathically, of course he chooses to mess with my hero agency list. I look around to see if I can leave the class, and I see Midoriya endlessly mumbling to himself. That's the deep in thought Midoriya I know. I visit Mr. Nizu's office during lunchtime and knock the door. And, who is it? I'm here to apply for Mr. Nizu's Coffee Jelly House. I'm glad that I can only communicate telepathically, 'cause I would rather die than say that out loud. I can even hear Mr. Nizu laughing from the other side. Come in. I greet Mr. Nizu with an annoyed look only to be returned with a smile. That's a sour face to give to the principal of the school. Even if the principal tampered with my hero agency list for fun. I admit that I did, but it wasn't for fun. I just know that Mr. Nizu is hiding something. What do you mean by that? Mr. Nizu slides a piece of paper towards me and I picked it up. I thought it was just a copy of Class A No. Of offers until, Class A No. Of offers Todoroki, 4123 Bakugo, 3556 Saiki, 1958 Tokoyami, 360 Ida, 301 1958. And, let's just say when it comes to attention, your match with Todoroki wasn't that one-sided. You changed it. But, N, would you be happy if your number of offers stood out like a sore thumb in the class? Not really. N, I'm just helping my beneficiary, as your benefactor. I stood in front of him silently in confusion from his frankly unwarranted help. Until I found a question to ask. Is that even why you called me here? Nizu's smile grows slightly wider. And, it's not. Nizu searches under his desk and gives me another piece of paper. I look at what was written and I was confused again. It was a hero agency that he probably wants me to go to. But why there? The first day of internship, the class gathers at the train station before parting ways to our respective hero agencies. I was standing next to Midoriya and Uraraka and the three of us saw Ida immediately walking away. Midoriya, Ida-kun. Ida stops in his tracks when he hears Midoriya calling out to him. Let us know if you're having trouble with the internship. We'll help you as your friends. Ida slowly turns around and gives a short response with an insincere look. Ida, yeah. Before Ida even took one step, I stopped him. Ida. Ida looks to me in curiosity. Hosu City, Tokyo, Normal Hero, Manual Agency, That's where you're going, right? Ida widened his eyes in surprise while Uraraka and Midoriya watched the interaction in confusion. 1-2 I am, how did you know? I walk away from Uraraka and Midoriya and stand next to Ida. Saiki. Because I'm also going there, let's do our best in our internship. POV. Saiki Kusuo. Although the internship has been uneventful, there are many things that the pro heroes are teaching us about how a hero agency functions. 2 conversations so far have been interesting between Ida and I and Normal Hero, Manual. One was during our first hero duty, Manual. We usually wait for clients to call us, but a lot of things have happened in Hosu City lately. Ida, so that's why we're going on patrols. That's it. I'm actually surprised that Ingenium's little brother chose to be an intern for my agency. I also didn't expect Saiki-kun to be here either, being 3rd place in that sports festival. I won't be surprised if you two got offers from more well-established hero agencies. Either way, please treat us and educate us well. Leave it to me. You see, pro heroes economically function like civil servants since we receive wages from the government, but our circumstances are vastly different. We fundamentally keep crime in check. If needed, heroes will be reached out to by the police for help. Every hero in the district will be notified at once. We document our work whether it is rescues or assisting arrests to the government office. A special agency will examine and pay us on a percentage. And one conversation happening on a usual sunset, Today's patrol is in Kyoto. Sorry if it's not as thrilling as you expect too, it's no problem. This is what heroes must do. It would be tiring if we had to jump into battle every time. I noticed that Manual glanced at us behind his back with a concerned look. Hey Ida-kun, we both looked to Manual. I might be wrong, he couldn't continue his sentence, like what he's trying to say might be difficult to say to Ida. But are you looking for the hero killer? Ida stopped walking. I'm thankful that Manual Hero is sharp enough to notice, but Ida hasn't been acting normally. The same Ida that would be straightforward and eager to commit to every assignment given to him, has been silently following orders and holding his tongue. At one point, I've been interacting with Manual more than him and I don't like to talk in general. He's also been obviously distant with me like we're not even in the same class. I keep my silence to hear Ida's answer. 2. I am. It's just I couldn't think of any other reason you would join my hero agency, especially since you're Ingenium's brother. But don't take it the wrong way, I'm still really glad that you came here. Manual's tone turns serious. If you are, you can't act on a personal grudge. Heroes don't arrest and punish on their own. We can only use our quirks through regulations. That's why heroes must never use their quirks for themselves. If they did, it would be a very serious crime. Ida looks down in covered shame, causing Manuel to try and lighten up the mood. I mean, it's not that the hero killer isn't guilty. It's just that you seem dedicated that I'm worried that you'll get tunnel vision. Ida bows to stop Manuel's panicked consolation. 2. Thank you for your advice. Okay, as long as you understand. After talking to Ida, Manuel turns to me. What about you, Kusuo-kun? Is it also about the hero killer? Well, 1 week ago, in Principal Nizu's office, Mr. Nizu notices my confusion after I received the paper he gave me. I take it that you have questions. Yeah, why 𝗕𝗁𝐺? Mr. Nizu clears his throat. This is gonna take a while. I'm sure you're aware that you're in a different position from other students. So you think, seeing that I'm being consulted by the principal about which hero agency I'm going to, I'm fairly confident about my abnormal position. I'm also sure that your goals are also different from your fellow classmates. Thinking back, in addition to being off campus to USJ, I was also given the request to protect my classmates from any unforeseen danger which happened. And instead of needing to do my best at the sports festival, I was asked to be an additional obstacle and choose appropriate students to overtake me. All because of you. And I am eternally thankful. So is this also going to be one of those occasions? What are you asking me to do this time? 𝗕𝗁𝐺 is where the hero killer strikes. The hero killer, the source of the looming bloodlust in Tokyo, and has been exclusively targeting heroes. And one of the victims include Ida's older brother, Ingenium. You want me to deal with the hero killer? Not exactly. The hero killer has been public enemy number 1 and all hero agencies are keeping a vigilant eye on him. So it would be problematic for a mysterious unregistered hero to be the one to take him down, especially when he's only appeared once. So what are you requesting from me? I want you to secretly aid the hero agency there to keep the hero killer under control. If attacks similar to the one in USJ happen again, having the hero killer be involved as well will be a problem. Back to present. Of course not. What chance do I have as a student to go against a hero killer? I just like Tokyo. Oh, good to know. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's continue our patrol then. Ida and I follow him, but Ida still hasn't said a word. I have a bad feeling where this is going. Hours later at nighttime, we notice a lot of smoke and orange light in a distance of the city. Manuel holds his earpiece as he gets a message. A monster. Understood, we'll be right there. Tenya-kun. Kusuo-kun. We have to run. Ida and I run behind him to reach the scene, when I notice Ida stop to look at an alleyway and immediately run to another direction. I stopped while Manuel still hasn't noticed that we both stopped following him. It's obvious why Ida's going somewhere else, so I secretly followed him. When I turn to where they are, I see Ida on the ground and his head is being pressed to the ground by someone's foot. A hunched muscular man in a dark combat suit, plated with metal armor across his body with his arms wrapped in yellow bandages and a BLD red scarf. So that's the hero killer. I saw him raising a sword towards him. Looks like I have to stop him. As soon as I was about to move, green sparks flew past me and jumps around the walls. I recognize that green jumpsuit, it's Midoriya. I hastily run after him as I was caught off guard by his tendency to instantly jump into danger, just like back in the shopping district. Midoriya lands a punch on his face while I land a side kick on his abdomen. Midoriya looks to me and is surprised. Midoriya, Saiki. I'm just as surprised that you're here. 2. Midoriya. Saiki. We're here to save you. Ida. We look at the hero killer, also known as Stain, and I notice that his eyes are locked on Midoriya. He must have crossed paths with the villains back then, since Midoriya was highly involved at that incident. 2. Why are you? I heard from the TV that 60% of the hero killer's victims were found in isolated places. So I searched for them in the alleyway's normal hero agency. One by one. I just followed you. Manuel-san was right, you do get tunnel vision. Saiki. Help Ida stand up to somewhere more crowded and get help from pro heroes. 2. I can't move my body ever since he cut may think it's his quirk, So cutting us activates his quirk. 2. Midoriya, stay out of this. You're not supposed to be involved. Midoriya turns to him in astonishment. What are you saying? Stain, your friends came to save you. What a great line. However, it is my duty to kill him. If we clash, the weaker one will be cut down. A grave chill course around both of our bodies. What is your decision? A killer really gives a scary aura. I glanced to Midoriya with a hand behind his back with his phone, and we nod at each other. Saiki, I'll drive him away as much as I can. 2. Stop. Just get away. I told you, you're not supposed to be involved. If that's true, then heroes can't do anything. The only thing I can say now is, like All Might said, meddling when you don't need to is the essence of being a hero. Stain smiles at his heroism. I leave it to you, Saiki. You got it. I turn to Ida and he tells me too. Please, you weren't supposed to be Ida. Ida stops talking from me, suddenly calling his name. You were about to die. The hero killer said it himself. Don't be stupid. Ida bites his tongue and grits in teeth, unable to talk back to the truth at hand. He looks forward. 2. Saiki. Watch out. I hear something cutting the air approaching me in high speed. I turn to see 3 daggers thrown to different parts of my body. I catch 2 of the daggers and jump to dodge the third. 2. Saiki. Are you okay? Looks like he's not letting me pick you up. I turn back to Midoriya and Stain. Midoriya dashes under his legs and jumps over him to land a punch on his head. An opening. I run to them and move a front kick towards Stain's abdomen, but he manages to block it with his katana, causing him to be pushed back. Saiki, why aren't you I tried, but he threw daggers at me when I got close. He has no intention of letting us get away. After the interaction, Midoriya's body flinches. Midoriya. We both look to a small cut in Midoriya's uniform. A small graze was enough to make him unable to move. But that's not what caused it. Midoriya knows, but he doesn't know that I do too and tries to tell me. Saiki. Stain stopped Midoriya by landing a strong kick to his stomach, causing Midoriya to fall to the ground. Weak. If you weren't weak, you would have brought me down. I can see that from your movements. Many are all talk. But you are worth living. You're different from the others. Stain points his sword at me. What about you, pink hair? It took everything I had to not heavily sigh at this situation. Nothing is more bothersome right now than to deal with the hero killer but somehow appear weaker than him so I don't stand out. I refuse to answer him as I raise and cross my arms while holding Stain's daggers. Stain swings his sword at me and I block it with both daggers. I see his facial muscles tense as he's unable to break through my defense. Rare. Instead of cutting me down with one strike, he moves his sword back and tries to weaken my defense by striking multiple times. I manage to parry his attacks with the daggers, causing sparks to fly after every clash. Ida and Midoriya watch in shock as I was able to hold Stain back without getting cut, but I'm slowly getting pushed back by Stain's consistent offense. Midoriya yells to me in concern. Saiki. Find a way to escape. Help should be here soon. We both know that that's going to be harder than my current situation. I suddenly get a rush of adrenaline as one thought stubbornly crosses my mind. I want to see what he's capable of. When his sword strikes my dagger, instead of parrying it away, I push his sword towards his body to throw him off balance and try to stab him with my other dagger. As my head gets nearer, Stain twists his body and tries to kick my head, but I manage to move back. When his shoes moves past my head, I notice that there was a spike that would have cut me. Stain immediately swings his sword at me, but I manage to block it again. I charge towards him while sliding my dagger through his sword to keep his sword from moving. I see Stain try to stab me with another dagger with his other hand, but I drop my second dagger to grab his arm. Seeing that Stain and I were in a stalemate, Stain pulls back and looks at me with a new expression. Stain usually has eyes of bloodlust and anger from his philosophy, but his eyes are now serious and demotivated. I can sense evil in someone's heart. Their anger, their pride, their greed, their ego. But I feel nothing from you. While all the fake heroes are selfish con men in flashy outfits, you are a lost child with no purpose, just doing what he's told. I'd say that's a normal mindset to have for a student that's studying to be a hero. Don't give me that garbage. Stain points his sword behind me. Your friend over there wants revenge. And points his sword behind him. And your friend over there wants to save everyone here. But you don't share the sentiments as either of them, no malice, no drive. It was like fighting a robot with no will. After all of that, you still insist on getting in my way. I stayed silent from Stain's sudden evaluation of me through our encounter. It's true I am not guided by strong emotions like 𝗕 and 𝗕, but he doesn't know that I just find this whole situation as a massive pain in the neck. I pick up the dagger I dropped and just replied with, I am told to stop you after all. I would have let you live if your values were as admirable as your skills. But now I'm willing to acknowledge you as another pro-hero, which means I will have to kill you right here. Stain's bloodlust becomes more intense and even made me flinch for a bit. I'm not worried about his strength, I'm worried about his murderous spirit. Stain dashes to me and I ready the daggers and run to him as well. As soon as we were about to clash again, we were both encased in ice. Of course one more shows up. I instantly break myself from the ice and look behind me to see Todoroki with the left side of his body glowing with his flames. Todoroki, you should have added more details Midoriya, it made me late. Todoroki's here too. Why are you here? You're even using your left side, I should be asking you the same thing. I had to figure out what it meant when you just sent me your location info. I'd think there was more to it if it was you. Stain breaks free of the ice with his katana and dodges Todoroki's ice that was also supporting Midoriya and the pro-hero that was attacked by Stain earlier. Todoroki runs to me. Which means that you were calling for help. The pro-heroes will also get here in a few minutes. What's the situation, Saiki? Before that, I prefer you to not willingly freeze me. It's better than you getting injured from anything else. I know that you're unaffected by my ice. The hero killer can paralyze his targets after tasting their BLD, and Midoriya and 𝗕 are both under its effects. So that's what the blades are for. Understood. Todoroki shoots fire to move Stain back while recovering Midoriya and the pro-hero to our side of the alleyway. I won't let you kill them, hero killer. All I need to do is keep my a throwing knife was instantly thrown and grazes Todoroki's cheek. During which, Stain immediately runs to Todoroki. You have such good friends, Ingenium. Stain tries to slash him with a dagger, but I kick his hand and the daggers flies to the air. Stain uses his other arm to grab him and tries to lick the scar on his cheek to taste his BLD, but I punch him in the face and he backs away from us. It's not a good idea to ignore me. Thanks for that. You shouldn't, I'm actually in your way. What? You would have defended it regardless with your fire. He knows you counter him way more than I can, that's why he was only aiming for you. There isn't much of a difference whether I help you or not. HMT, I need your help. I can't fight him when I'm in his range. I was slightly surprised that the Todoroki that always wants to prove himself by fighting alone is asking for my help. Alright then, plus I walk a few steps forward and hold up my daggers. Guess that means that I'm your shield, while the left side of Todoroki's body becomes brighter. I leave it to you. 2 POV. Saiki Kusuo 1 I can only hope that dealing with Stain is going to be easier with Todoroki backing me up. For now, Todoroki is able to hold Stain back with his ice quirk. 𝗕, you 3 stop. I have to do this for my brother. Todoroki, your brother. Ingenium wouldn't have acted on revenge. But it's difficult being in a family of pro-heroes. Even so, your brother wouldn't be happy with what you did. The ice wall that Todoroki was easily cut down to pieces by Stain. Obstructing your vision against a faster opponent is foolish. Could be. As he was lifting his left arm, Stain threw 2 throwing knives that I managed to block, but I lost my balance and fell on Todoroki. Stain uses the opportunity to strike the injured pro-hero from earlier, Not enough. But Midoriya shows up out of nowhere and drags him away from us. Midoriya. I can move now somehow. Is it a time limit? The pro hero finally speaks up. Pro hero, it can't be, he was the last one that got affected. I still can't move. My bad, Todoroki. It's fine. If you didn't stop those knives, it would have struck my left arm. Stain elbowed Midoriya away and Todoroki distracted him enough so Midoriya can run back to us. Since I got free first, I can only think of 3 possible reasons. It becomes less effective with more people, it depends on the amount of BLD ingested, or it's based on BLD type. BLD type. My BLD type is B2. I'm type A. Stain smiles from Midoriya's quick thinking. Correct. I also knew, but that's mostly because of my mind reading. Now that I think about it, alongside my quirks, my BLD type was also forged because my BLD type is not identified as any of the normal 4 BLD types. What would happen if Stain got my BLD 1? Knowing about his quirk doesn't really help us though. One of us can carry these 2 out of here, but he's fast enough to dodge Todoroki's ice and fire, and I get greeted by throwing knives every time I try. Our best option is to hold him off until the pros get here. Saiki. Todoroki. We both turn to Midoriya. I'll distract him. Todoroki, support me from behind. Saiki, protect Todoroki and the others. I'm not entirely sure if we can take him down, but yeah. It's our best option after all. The 3 of us will protect them. 3 against 1. What a crowd. The plan went well at first, but in addition to Stain putting more effort, he also found a glaring flaw in our strategy. We're an impromptu team, so he can just deal with us one by one. Stain did quick work with Midoriya, with 1 cut on his ankle being enough to paralyze him. He's also able to dodge Todoroki's quirk even easier. Your overdependence over your quirks has made you careless. I blocked Stain's katana that was aiming for Todoroki with my daggers, but the strength behind the swing was magnitude stronger than I expected. Stain manages to push me away with a single powerful swing and immediately turns his blade to Todoroki. Todoroki. I hear an engine burst behind me and a body dash past. Ida manages to stand up and save Todoroki by kicking the katana from below and breaking it half. He even kicked him away with the reciprocal burst. Ida. You're fine now. Guess that quirk isn't as effective as I thought. 2. Todoroki, Midoriya, Saiki. This has nothing to do with the 3 of you, and I'm sorry. You're still saying that. 2. That's why I can't allow you guys to bleed anymore from this. Stain's eyes sharpen and become bloodshot as his nerves pop out in anger and frustration as he finds Ida's act repulsive. Shallow self-reflection is pointless. You can't change who you are. You will always be known as a fraud that prioritized his selfishness. A cancer corrupting the name of heroes. And only I can set it right. You're an anachronistic fundamentalist. Don't listen to a murderer's logic, Ida. 2. No, he's right. I can't call myself a hero, but that doesn't mean I'll give up. 2. If I do, Ingenium's name will die. Useless. Stain tries to jump at Ida, but Todoroki puts him at a distance. He realized that Stain is desperate now that time is running out for him and he has to fight for people. 2. Todoroki, can you regulate temperature? Not with my left well. But 2. Freeze my leg without plugging the exhausts. Todoroki turns in confusion and Stain tries to use that window to throw a knife at him, but I catch it. Todoroki stops attacking in surprise. Saiki. Just do what Ida asks. I'll hold him off. Stain notices that I'm in the way and his murderous spirit bursts towards me with a downward strike with his katana from the sky. I try to block it with 2 daggers, but, I said I'll kill you. His strike was strong enough to break both of the daggers and the momentum created a crater under my legs and pushed me to the ground. But as the katana was inches away from piercing my shoulder, Saiki. Stain was hit with a full cowling punch from Midoriya and a reciprocal burst kick from Ida. He pulled his katana and tried to cut Ida, but Ida struck him from below, causing him to propel to the air and get struck by Todoroki's fire and frozen by his ice, causing him to be unconscious on a pillar of ice. He has to be knocked out after all of that, right? Let's restrain him and get out of this alleyway. We should also take his weapons. The pro-hero named Native recovered from Stain's paralysis and carried Midoriya, who was injured from his own quirk, while Todoroki tied Stain up with some rope he found at a trash collection site. The five of us walk through the alleyway. Native, I feel guilty that I couldn't do anything as a pro-hero. No, the hero killer's quirk was really strong against your BLD type. We even barely won when it was 4-on-1. Let's quickly get him to the police dash. Why are you here? A sudden voice caught our attention, and it was a short old man in a white suit with a yellow cape. Gran Torino. And he kicked Midoriya in the face. Gran Torino, I told you to stay at the bullet train. Turns out he was a pro-hero that Midoriya is interning with. A few pro-heroes also arrived from the call to see that we already dealt with the hero killer. While one of the pro-heroes are calling the police, another started to check on our conditions. Pro-hero, can you stand? If you can prop me up. What about you? I only have minor injuries. Ida is also bleeding heavily. Todoroki looks to me, who looked the most healthy. Are you even injured? Yes, of course I am. You think I don't have multiple bruises under my suit after taking multiple hits from the hero killer? It's impressive that you didn't get a single cut from him. Well, I did use his own throwing knives to block his weapons. You think they'll allow you to use daggers as your signature weapon? A hero that uses daggers seemed to be in bad taste. Especially when it came from the hero killer. You seemed very proficient with them though. It was more desperation so that I wouldn't die. You three, we all turned to Ida behind us. You were all injured because of me. I am deeply sorry. My anger brought you into this. I'm sorry too. I didn't notice how strongly you felt about it. Even though we're friends, Ida bowed to us while tears dropped from his eyes. Pull yourself together, aren't you the class rep? Hope you continue being our role model. Class rep Ida wiped his tears with his arm. Okay. Gran Torino looked up and exclaimed, GT, take cover. A flying villain with an empty bloody eye socket flew over us and picked up Midoriya. The BLD. Did it escape here after it got beaten? I was about to do something, but another muscled villain jumps down from the sky and creates a crater from the impact. It tried to slam both of its arms on Todoroki, but I pushed him aside. Look out. I tried to block his attack, but my body was weakened from fighting Stain that my body collapsed from the force of the villain's strike, causing me to be pummeled to the ground. Saiki. I could barely remember what happened next, but before I fainted, I saw the villain's head cleanly sliced off from its neck and a familiar figure jumping over it. Did Stain save me? POV. Saiki Kusuo. I woke up to see gray square tiles on the ceiling and a concerned voice shout at me from the other side of the room. I sat up and felt restrictions on my abdomen and arms. I looked through my hospital robe to see bandages wrapped around my waist and upper arms. I felt the thin and slightly uncomfortable bed to slowly accept the fact that I was brought to the hospital when I was out. I look forward to see 3 pairs of concerned eyes of Midoriya, Todoroki, and Ida. Midoriya had bandages on his right leg and left arm, and Ida has a cast for both of his arms. I can see the bandages under Ida's robe wrapped on his chest. Todoroki didn't have any visible injuries since I was protecting him. The incident roughed us up more than we thought. Saiki, are you okay? I tense and untense the muscles around my body to check their condition. I'm fine. We were so worried since you didn't wake up since we got ambushed by those villains. You all arguably look worse. Have you guys gotten any sleep? Not for long. Me too. Now that I think about it, we kinda did something amazing. Todoroki. After all of that, I'm just grateful that we're still breathing. Seeing our injuries, he probably could have killed us. We were left alive on purpose. I would disagree since he blatantly told me that he wanted to kill me when we fought. But I'm not really sure now since he saved me from that villain that knocked me out. Todoroki turns to Ida. It's impressive that you faced him even against his murderous intent. 2. I wouldn't call it impressive. The door opens and we're greeted with 𝗕𝗁𝙁𝗎𝗄𝐻, Manuel, and a large man with a dog head, who's actually the chief police for Hosu City, Kenji Tsuragami. The purpose for his visit is to address the hero killer incident. Turns out our act of taking down 𝗕 is against the law since we injured someone with our quirks even though we aren't certified heroes. If Ida and Midoriya didn't take action, Native and Ida would have died. Kenji, the law doesn't get excluded just because the incident ended favorably. As cruel as it sounds, justice is blind after all. The point of laws is to not have exceptions. Aren't heroes supposed to save people? This is why hero students aren't certified. What is your father's agency teaching you? Woof. You dog. 2. Stop Todoroki, he's right. Todoroki tried to directly confront Kenji but Gran Torino stopped him. Even though Todoroki's outburst was impulsive, Kenji isn't helping by talking down on him. Gran Torino, hold on, let him finish his statement. Us breaking the law was an official response from the police and is only enacted if it becomes public. If it was, we will gain favorable public opinion, which I'm personally not fond of, but we will be facing punishment. But an underhanded solution is to not make the incident public and put the act of taking down 𝗕 under Endeavor's name since 𝗕 suffered from burn marks from Todoroki. Meaning that our achievements will not be public. Ida walked forward and bowed to Manuel, but I stayed on my bed since I'm supposed to be more injured. 2. I am truly sorry. I'm sorry as well. Manuel, good, if you weren't you'll be causing more trouble. Don't do it again. I'm sorry. Please take care of it, K. Even if the law hides your praise, I thank you all as a fellow protector of peace. And the chief of police bows to us too. 2 days later, finally got some worthy rest in the comfort of my own home. Especially after everything that happened involving the hero killer. Ida left the hospital first by his mom and Todoroki returned to his internship since his injuries weren't that bad. One surprising thing did happen before he left. Todoroki walked away from his hospital bed and stopped right in front of me, to bow at me. Saiki, thank you for saving me. Oh yeah, I pushed him to safety while I got slammed to the ground by a villain. I was very caught off guard that the prideful Todoroki is bowing at me in gratitude. You're welcome. And he promptly leaves the room. I am slightly relieved that Todoroki doesn't hatefully see me as a rival like during the sports festival. I'm not expecting to get along with Bakugo anytime soon. As for Midoriya, are you going to discharge today? I have to stay. I haven't recovered fully yet. I see. I thought that there wouldn't be a point to accompany Midoriya, so I also left later that day. I was also endlessly coddled by my parents in worry, causing me to be exempted from the internship because of my parents' insistence, even though I fully recovered ever since I woke up in the hospital. I guess it does make sense. My ribs, backbone and upper arms are supposed to be broken taking that much damage from that villain. I leisurely walked downstairs to get some coffee jelly from the fridge since my parents bought multiple packs for me because of the incident. I look around the house and my body froze when I saw a familiar figure on a familiar spot. Good grief. Mr. Nizu is in the living room again. I heavily sighed and went to the kitchen first to take some coffee jelly before going into the living room. Mr. Nizu was watching me the entire time and giving the same smile. I sit in front of him as per usual and Mr. Nizu started our conversation. Good morning, Kusuo. Good morning, Mr. Nizu. Is something the matter? Having business with someone that was just hospitalized isn't tasteful. Looks to me that you're physically acting completely healthy and you just don't want to see me. What are you doing here? I really can't lie to someone who has looked after me for 9 years. Don't be like that. Once again, I am eternally grateful for what you've done. I don't think I've done anything though. Kusuo, matters concerning you are of utmost importance in the Hero Public Safety Commission. We aren't classified as the public. Of course he knows that I confronted 𝗕. But I would think the most important source of importance is right in front of me. I heavily sighed and told him everything, from me seeing Ida under 𝗕's foot to 𝗕 cutting the head of the villain that attacked me. Mr. Nizu just looked down with his hand on his chin, thinking deeply. N. Interesting stain saved you. S. His intentions are all over the place. I understand him saving Midoriya, since he wanted to let him live at first, but N. You think he sees the same in you. S. He swung his sword towards my shoulder while screaming, I said I'll kill you. N. People's minds can change. S. He also said I was empty. N. Think about it this way, N. Maybe instead of an empty shell, he might find you as an empty piece of paper, and that paper is pure, N. And he might think that sort of person was worth saving. Leave it to Mr. 𝗔𝗂's superintelligence quirk to come to that conclusion. It has crossed my mind, but I just found it too optimistic. Mr. 𝗔𝗂 is right though that it's not impossible that Stain thought that way. S. So is that all you want to know? N. Not entirely. S. You want me to do another favor, do you? N. How sharp? S. That has always been the last topic of our conversations. Mr. 𝗔𝗂 stopped smiling and starts talking to me in a serious tone. N. Saiki, please understand that the world has been more chaotic since All Might has gotten weaker. I know that you've noticed that. Your contributions against these villains are vital. S. I understand. Mr. 𝗔𝗂 reminded me the reality of the situation. That my gift is important to everyone involved with me and the society I'm responsible for protecting. And Mr. 𝗔𝗂 is making sure to guide me to the right path on becoming more than student. He sincerely wants me to be the best hero I can be. And being a hero is never easy. After he got his point across to me, Mr. 𝗔𝗂 continued talking in a casual and friendly tone. N. Don't worry, the circumstances of this mission is different from usual. Now Mr. 𝗔𝗂 calls these tasks missions instead of favors since I decided to become more serious about them. Why is that? A few days later, a normal school day finally starts again for Hero Corps students since the internship ended. And most of the students in Class 1A are talking about their experiences. 𝗬𝗪 and Kirishima was laughing from Bakugo's straight and neat hair instead of his usual spiky hair, but it instantly went back to normal. It was a jarringly amusing sight. Some got combat experience and some got unpleasant experiences. Kaminari, but the ones who went through the most were you four, right? Kaminari and the rest of the class turned to Midoriya, Iida, Todoroki, and 𝗬𝗪. Yeah, the hero killer. Kirishima, seriously glad that you guys are all right. Sato, Endeavor saved you right. Hagakure, that's the number 2 hero for you. Todoroki, he saved us. The other 3, me included, silently pretended to agree. The class that day was basic hero training. More specifically, a rescue training race in a factory-themed labyrinth. I was racing against Ishido, 𝗬𝗪, Iida, Midoriya, and Ojiro. Before the race started, I was watching what the spectators thought out of curiosity. Yaoyorozu, I think Midoriya is in a slight disadvantage. Jiro, I can see that. He usually gets himself injured too. Kirishima, who do you guys think will win? I think 𝗬𝗪's got this. Kaminari, Ojiro's there though. Mineta, Ishido's really athletic too. Bakugo, Deku be last. Uraraka, even if he's injured, I think Iida can win. Nice, no one's talking about mean Todoroki. I think Saiki has a chance. One, even though Todoroki casually said it under his breath, everyone turned to him in surprise because he's complimenting someone else, knowing how quiet and self-centered Todoroki is. I even saw Bakugo clicked his tongue. Guess I'm still on his hit list. When the race started, I unconcernedly made my way through the labyrinth. When I was at the floor, I hear electric sounds and multiple thumping sounds of metal. I look up and see Midoriya jumping over the metal structures with relative ease. Let's have some fun. I squatted and do a high vertical jump on top of a metal structure and see Midoriya further ahead of me. I do a standing starting position and quickly traverse through the metal structures and pillars, causing me to be right behind him. Kirishima, whoa. Seiki's already hot on his tail. He jumped off one of the buildings and sees me behind him. Saiki. His surprise made him lose focus and his foot slipped on a small pipe that he couldn't balance on. Is he okay? In the end, 𝗬𝗪 won while Midoriya is on the floor from defeat. A few days later, the last homeroom before summer vacation started with an announcement from Aizawa-sensei. Aizawa, it's almost time for summer vacation, but Hero Corps students won't just be resting for the Entire month, Kaminari, it has to be AI, so you'll have a training camp in the woods. And the whole class cheers from the ceremonial outdoor school activity. Ashido, test of courage. How does that work when we're hero students? Azui, fireworks. Like a summer festival. Ida, curry. I don't know how that's a spotlight. Mineta, open-air hot springs. One, although we have clearly different intentions, a hot spring does sound nice. AI. However, Aizawa's usual glare silenced the class AI. Those who don't pass the final exams before then will be in summer school. Kirishima, let's do our best, everyone. Plus, final exams. The most normal school event being in UA so far. I'm mostly relieved that I don't have to do anything excessive. At least I hope.